Welcome back to Real Talk Live, where we talk about movies, TV shows, and all the latest entertainment news. I'm your host, Krypton Cage, and I'm joined here today by my co-host, The Viking. How are you doing, man?
Good man, we've got so many stuff to talk about today, but it's all pretty interesting. DC, Marvel, Uncharted, the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, which I got to see, and we also have two new members of Real Talk Live. Maybe you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so we needed our, you know, like a lot of you might know, we actually just both of us, we handle the social media, we handle the streams and all that stuff. So we needed some people on our team to help us out with additional stuff and stuff that is very important to our page and our streams as well. So finally, we decided to pick the right guys for this. One is Fear Jason. You might know him from the streams. He hasn't been on the show yet, but he will be in the future. But he drops by in the chat sometimes, and he's also a mod. So he has been added to our team as a content creator and social media manager. And there he is in the chat now. And also along with him is my friend Noman, and he has been added as a social media manager as well. So all the new posts on Twitter that you've been seeing about all the news and stuff, that's basically him and Fear Jason both. So yeah, welcome to the team, guys.
Yeah, it's awesome because we need help, and the guys are doing terrific work putting out
Oh,
posts,
they're doing
and
amazing.
some really
Yeah.
cool graphics. So it does help them. The goal is to have like Real Talk Live as a page where people can come and get the latest news for TV, streaming, movies, and stuff like that, and fun polls and discussions. And also, we created a TikTok at the Real Talk Live, which I created and started doing videos on that. So you can go check that out if you're on TikTok for the latest trailers as well. And of course, the Instagram too. So everything's going pretty good, and it's starting to grow slowly. But it's yeah, we're enjoying it, and it's good to get the help, of course. But yeah, I'm happy to have the guys there, and they're awesome.
Yeah. So let's jump right into our first topic of today, which is not that one. Sorry. The first topic is Uncharted. And there we go. There we go. Uncharted.
Have you ever played the Uncharted games, Casey?
I haven't played fully, but I have tried a couple of levels and stuff. So I know how the basic stuff works and what the characters are like. So that's about it.
Yeah,
But I know that it's kind of like a adventure treasure hunt type of game. Um, so yeah, that's
it's
all I
kind of
know.
like Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones is like treasure.
Yeah.
You're looking for treasure and stuff like that. So I would say that like Indiana Jones is the cinematic version of that, like the most known, and Uncharted would probably be the most known on the game kind of community. And it's got a huge fan base, passionate fan base. I've never played the games. I've just seen kind of gameplay on YouTube. And I know a lot of fans wanted Nathan Fillion to play the character of Nathan Drake, because he does look like the character. And then when the casting of Tom Holland came out, people lost their shit because they were saying that's not their Nathan Drake. It doesn't look like him whatsoever. From a source material point of view, maybe you're right, but from a franchise business point of view, picking Nathan Fillion over Tom Holland isn't the smartest choice because Sony would love to have Uncharted be a franchise for the next 30 years. Like Indiana Jones is still going. Number 5 is coming out next year or in 2024 with Harrison Ford coming back. So they want a big franchise over this. So I had no problem ever with the casting. What was your reaction when they cast Tom Holland as Nathan Drake?
Well, I have no issues with that, but I certainly can understand why people are upset because in the games, they never started from a point where Nathan was younger. So I can see why a lot of people were like, why Tom Holland? He's so unlike the Nathan Drake we play with in the games, right? So I can see why people are upset, but if he's a good actor, he'll pull it off. Plus, I think they just wanted to build a franchise here with like 5 or 7 movies. So
Yeah,
eventually he'll grow up and become that. If you start the movie from the from the point where you already know what the character is, then there's no direction of growth
yeah,
there. So
yeah,
there's not interesting storytelling there to make a movie about. So you have to grow your character over the arc of the movies. So for that reason also, I feel like this was a good decision, and obviously Tom Holland is a great actor, so I don't see how that can go wrong, unless the script is terrible. I haven't seen the movie
yeah.
yet.
It kind of reminds me of Superman when people talk about Snyder's Superman because they wanted the Christopher Reeve one straight away instead of what they got. But Zach was building towards that perfect Superman that everyone knows. And like it's the same with the Uncharted games. You want to kind of build that foundation, that origin before you get to that character that you love through the games. But yeah, we have a few in the chat who played the games and have seen the movie. Taryn says Uncharted was decent to be fair. I've played the game so many times, and the film was did all right. So that's pretty cool. He enjoyed it. Rokon says it's Indiana Jones, but way more violent. Yes. Sienna has played the games and enjoyed them a lot. That's awesome. So yeah, I got to see Uncharted actually 10 days ago. It came out here a week early,
Oh, nice.
and like I went to go see the movie like with not my expectations weren't massive or anything. Like I'm not a fan of the games or anything, but I wanted to go see it because it was a new movie that was out. I'm a fan of Mark Wahlberg, so I never had problems with the casting. The trailers looked fine and stuff like that. I actually didn't know who directed the movie until it ended. Ruben Fleischer directed it. I'm a big fan of Ruben Fleischer of Zombieland and
Venom.
um, Venom as well. Yeah, and like I just never processed with me that he directed this movie until the very end, and then I knew like a good director was involved here because he's a very good director and he directed this very well. I would say that this is a fun movie. It's really enjoyable. I didn't take it too seriously. The pacing is very good. The interaction between Mark Wahlberg and Tom Holland, the comedy there is brilliant at times. It's not over the top. It's not done in like a terrible way where it's trying to make you laugh. It's done in a very subtle way. The back and forth, the chemistry was pretty good. And I thought Tom Holland did fantastic. And when he first popped up on scene on the screen, all I got to see was like Spider-Man. Or there's Spider-Man just in a big franchise to trying to make money. But as the movie went on, he started to kind of morph into a different character, and I got to see him as Nathan Drake. And as someone who hasn't played the games, he is now my Nathan Drake. Because I've never played the games and I've only seen this movie. So I think he did an awesome job. And I really like Tom Holland as an actor because he could play the safe option and just do franchise movies. Spider-Man, Uncharted, something else, keep that rotation going. But he actually did Cherry with the Russo brothers, which isn't a great movie, but he's fantastic in it. And I like how he takes these risks and does these kind of darker scripts that you would expect him to do when he's in his 30s or 40s. He's actually doing them now while he's Spider-Man, the devil all the time. I really like that movie. I know you did as well. And he was brilliant in that. And I like how he's doing these like out there roles, but also doing these franchises as well. And he's pulling it off pretty well. The action is really enjoyable. In the trailers, they hyped up the plane sequence, and I was thinking when watching the trailers, oh, they're showing this a lot. Is this the only good thing from the movie? And they actually hyped it up because they knew how good it was. It's a really good scene, and there's actually a shot in it where you're actually from the perspective of Tom Holland's character and falling from the plane. That was really well done. It's like you're playing the game. And the third act has an awesome action sequence with I just said two ships, two pirate ships, and it's ridiculous. It makes no sense, but it's a lot of fun. And that goes on for about 10 or 15 minutes, maybe even 20 minutes, and it's just a ride, a true ride. And I tweeted out when I got to see the movie that this is the type of movie that will get an 80 to 90% score on Rotten Tomatoes from the audience, and it will get a rotten score from the critics. And right now, it's rotten from the critics, and it sits at 90% from the audience. So this reminds me of the Transformer trilogy with Michael Bay or his 5 movies. The audiences really enjoyed them while the critics hated them. That's the movie. It seemed like it just seemed like a good time at the movies, a good popcorn-driven movie. And I would recommend this to average moviegoers. If I met somebody who wasn't big into movies and they were talking about movies or something like that, I would say go see Uncharted. It's a lot of fun. But I wouldn't recommend something like Matrix Resurrections, to an average moviegoer because they probably wouldn't like it. But yeah, I thought it was good. Mark Wahlberg was fine, cool action. enjoyable, and I actually want to see more. I think this is the start of a franchise, and right now it's just crossing 150 million worldwide. It's yet to hit China, so it looks like this is the start. This is the foundation of a new franchise for Tom Holland and the Uncharted fan base. But the fan base seemed to be very annoyed at the movie because just a lot of gamers, the gamer community, aren't happy with it because it's not the games, but it's very hard to replicate the games because they're games and this is a movie. So you can't make everybody happy. But it kind of reminds me of the Resident Evil movies as well, because the one, what's the actor? Is it Mila Djokovic? Is that her
Yeah.
name? The woman that was in them. Yeah, those movies like had 7 or 8 movies. They did pretty well at the box office, but they weren't in line with the games. They weren't direct adaptations. And the gamers complained for years and years that it's not a direct adaptation, but the movies were doing well. People liked them. And then they made an adaptation. The recent one that came out, Resident Evil, Raccoon City, I watched it. I liked it. It was directly from the game, but it didn't do that well. So, the source material fans aren't the ones that always kind of dictate if it does well or not. It's the general audiences. So I would say go check out Uncharted. It's a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. But if you're a diehard player of the game, you might not like it. Taryn says the guy that voiced Nathan Drake in the game, Nolan North, made a short cameo in the film too, which was cool. Yes, and if you're not a player of the game, you probably won't even know. You probably won't even notice. There's not a big thing to you. But yeah, he made a cameo, and it was actually a funny cameo, and it was actually cool to see him. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on Uncharted in theaters right now.
Nice. So next up is Pam and Tommy. Now, I haven't watched this because I'm currently watching other stuff. I'm actually going to start Severance today. But yeah, I haven't watched this yet. But episodes 1 to 4 are out right now. What do you?
5 now.
Oh,
5
5.
films
Okay.
now.
So what do you think of
Yeah.
them?
Yeah, Pam and Tommy. So it's a true story about Pamela Anderson. She was on Baywatch. She was a Playboy model. She was kind of like every guy's dream, like girl back in the 90s, I think it is. And yeah, she was a worldwide famous star. And what happened was is her sex tape, it leaked. It got leaked with her boyfriend, who was a drummer. And yeah, it was a big thing at the time. And this was kind of the first big sex tape to be leaked and to be put out there. Of course, Kim Kardashian came next, and now it seems like every celebrity has, nude pictures leaked and stuff like that. So it's not as big now because it's a common occurrence with people because of this age with technology. But yeah, it basically follows that. Tape is leaked. But I didn't know what to expect with this show whatsoever. It stars Sebastian Stan, who was the Winter Soldier. Lily James is Pamela Anderson. She's fantastic, unrecognizable. You got Seth Rogen there as well. You got Nick Offerman. And Seth Rogen and Nick Offerman are the two kind of sleazebags that leaked this for their own benefit, for money and stuff like that. And it's a comedy. It's a fun show. It's a comedy, but it's very deep in its story. It gives some kind of backstory to Pamela Anderson, to her husband Tommy Lee, the drummer, to Seth Rogen, and it makes you care for these characters. A very emotional weight with the show, and each character is going through a battle. Like Pamela Anderson wants to be taken as a serious actor, but people just look at her because of how she looks and her good looks and things like that. Seth Rogen's character is a nobody, and he's struggling for money, and he was actually disrespected by Tommy Lee because he worked for him as like a carpenter or something like that, doing up his house. And Tommy Lee kind of, he disrespected him. He kind of bullied him a bit as well. So that's where Seth Rogen's character's motivations lie as well. Nick Offerman's a porn producer, but they add layers to these characters that actually you think, who's the bad guy here? Who's the good guy? And it's interesting. And the latest episode kind of went into kind of the legal aspects of the tape being leaked and suing different publications, newspaper, website because of the tape. So it's a good show. It's well made. It's on Hulu right now or Disney Plus, wherever you are in the world, and it's really well directed, well performed. It's a good show, but I wasn't expecting it to be as serious as it is. But yeah, first 5 episodes are out right now, dropping weekly. I don't know how many episodes are all together, or 8 episodes altogether. So we've got 3 episodes to go, and yeah, it's a good show. It really is, and kind of you care for each character, and you kind of feel sorry for Pamela Anderson's character with the tape being leaked, and it was kind of a tough time for her as well because she lost a baby, and then she was trying to have more kids and stuff like that. But the actors that play the characters are doing a fantastic job, big time. Sebastian Stan, is having so much fun as Tommy Lee.
Nice. I might check it out after it's all finished. Because as I said, right now I'm watching other stuff. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move on to the next topic, which is Jackass Forever. And I haven't seen this movie, and I have never seen any Jackass before. This is not something that I'm interested in. So I've never seen it. But you have seen
Yeah.
it, and what do you think?
Yeah, look, the Jackass guys have been doing it for nearly, I'd say, 25 years right now. They started on MTV with their TV show Jackass, which led to a movie, which led to another movie, and all together now they've had 4 movies, and this is supposed to be the last one, but actually it's killing it at the box office. It's making a lot of money, so never say never. But the guys are getting old, Johnny Knoxville, Steve-O, and look, it's basically these guys just doing stupid shit, getting hurt for our entertainment, and it's a good 1 hour and 40 minutes of just entertainment of these guys putting themselves through just chaos, absolute chaos, ridiculous stuff at times, crazy stuff. But they do it out of just love for their audience, I suppose. And yeah, Johnny Knoxville takes some huge binds in this one. So does Steve-O. They get hurt pretty badly, and I kind of hope this is their last one because they're getting old and they're not really able for it anymore. But yeah, it's a good time. I've enjoyed all the movies. Like it's a little bit repetitive. They do these random shit and stuff like that, but it's good fun. And these guys are just crazy. They're absolutely badass. But yeah, I check out the movies. They're just fun, and you wouldn't believe some of the stuff that they do. There's one scene in this movie where Johnny Knoxville is just he's going up against a bull, and oh, it's crazy. Look at you won't believe it. And the opening scene is actually hilarious and gross, which I won't talk about here because it's too gross to talk about. But these guys will just do anything for our entertainment, and fair play to them. It's awesome. There's a few cameos in here as well from big stars and UFC fighter and stuff like that. So, yeah, Jackass Forever. I had a good time. I went to go see it with my brother, and yeah, I'd recommend it if you're into that kind of stuff. Rokon says Knoxville did confirm he's done because of the bull injury. Didn't say anything else about anyone else. Yeah, they probably can do maybe spin-offs or maybe other TV shows with some of the other guys. But yes, he got pretty hurt in that one. And there's kind of a time period where in the movie he has kind of he's got black hair, and then later on in the movie he has gray hair. He got hurt so bad he actually wasn't able to do anything for such a long time during the shoot. By the time they got around to finishing the film, he had gray hair, so it's just, yeah, he got a really bad bang then. So did Steve-O. Steve-O got a bad one too. And they did one stunt where there's a treadmill. There's a treadmill going this way, and they step over it, and there's like 6 of them in a row, and they go flying this way, one after another, and they smash into each other. It's not like they're going into like soft ground or like anything like that. They're going into tarmac, in the concrete actually, and it's bang, bang, bang. Unbelievable. It's crazy. But yeah, I think Knoxville is definitely done now. I just hope he does acting or something from now on, because he's going to end up killing himself. And these guys have cheated death for so long. But yeah, Jackass Forever is definitely a recommendation as well if you're into that kind of stuff. If you like the guys, if you don't like the guys, you don't like that stuff, you won't like this one either. There's nothing really new in it at all. But we have a comment here about the Pam and Tommy from Winter Naomi Vera. I was 12 when the sex tape leaked, and I didn't know for the longest time that it was leaked. And seeing this, I felt so bad for Pamela Anderson. And as a woman, I'd be devastated if this happened to me. And it's happened to so many people out there who are not even celebrities, leaked images and stuff like that. So yeah, I think there's a lot of people who can relate to Pamela Anderson and what she was going through. So yeah, there's somebody who related to that. So that felt for her. So it's good when a movie or a show can speak to you, or you feel bad for somebody, because we're all human at the end of the day, and we should feel bad when people go through terrible shit like that.
I agree. And speaking of terrible shit, we have the next topic: Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now, I haven't seen the new one, but I have seen the one that came before this, which had Alexander Daddario. But I thought that was good, and I thought it was a good horror movie, a good slasher movie as well. But yeah, I haven't seen this one. I'm definitely interested, but I haven't heard anyone say good things about this yet. So you've seen this movie. I'm curious to know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I haven't seen the Alexander Daddario one. I've seen the Jessica Biel one, that came out in 2003, I think. Rokon might know, but yeah, I did like the 2003 one. I'm not a huge like I'm really into Michael Myers and Scream and Chucky and those types of slasher movies. I was never kind of one that got into Leatherface. I did see the 1974 original a long time ago. I was much younger, and it was very kind of. I thought it would be serious and dark, but it was kind of it was kind of comedic in a way because Leatherface just sprints with this chainsaw at people. And I think in that movie as well, he had like brothers or something like that, or were kind of messed up like him or a family. But I can't really remember. But the 2003 one, I remember with Jessica Biel, and that was messed up as well. That was a really enjoyable one. I did like that, but I haven't checked out any of the latest ones. Yeah, so this is a movie that kind of had some production problem. The director was sacked after like 2 weeks or something like that. They brought somebody else in, and the movie was supposed to hit theaters, and then they used the pandemic as an excuse. Then they used scheduling and stuff like that. They used a lot of excuses with this movie, and that's why they kind of shopped it around. And Netflix kind of bought it, but like it was supposed to hit theaters, but like a movie hitting Netflix isn't like a downgrade to me because Netflix is the biggest streaming service in the world. It's like this movie will be watched because it's on Netflix. Probably more than it would be if it was in theaters in a way. So I don't think it's a downgrade or anything like that. It just shows that they didn't have much confidence in it to put it in theaters if they were trying to shop at the different streaming services because, Halloween Kills did pretty well at the box office. Scream did pretty well at the box office. So there was an audience there of horror fans that would have probably went to the theater to watch this maybe, but didn't have a lot of faith in it at all. But this is a direct sequel to I think it's 1974 movie. It's a direct sequel. So every other sequel that came after the original is disregarded in this sense. So this is kind of like what they did with Halloween in 2018 with Jamie Lee Curtis. So the plot for this one is, after nearly 50 years of hiding, Leatherface returns to terrorize a group of idealistic young friends who accidentally disrupt his carefully shielded world in a remote Texas town. The plot, the characters are just terrible in this movie. They're not likable. They're not interesting. You kind of want them to die.
Wow.
It's basically this group of social media influencers that buy this town that, of course, is where Leatherface lives, and they want to do it up as kind of like a project and put it on their social media. Like we're great guys doing up this community for people to go and live and stuff like this. They just get right into it. You don't like the characters at all. They're badly written. The lead actress, I'm not saying she's a bad actress, but she had a bad script to work with. And yeah, you just want them to die big time. But what they did get right, which may be the most important thing, is the kills and his Leatherface himself. Rokon says that Jessica Biel one was in 2003. That was during her rise from doing Seventh Heaven. Yeah. But Leatherface is done brilliant in this one. He looks terrifying. He's big. The kills in this are absolutely brutal. Really, really brutal. Worse than Scream and worse than Halloween Kills.
Yeah. I mean, he has a chainsaw.
He does have a chainsaw, but no, not just that. There's one scene where somebody goes to punch him. He grabs it and he smashes their arm in half, and you get to see it all.
Nice.
It's terribly good, but he's done brilliantly. All the actors and everything like that. The plot is stupid. It's really, really bad. But I had fun with it. It's one of those movies that's kind of it's bad, and you know you have kind of fun with a bad movie. This is it. But like it's not like I got bored. I was never bored because I was either laughing at the dialogue, laughing at the script, or watching Leatherface kill people. I was kind of enjoyed by the badness of this movie, which isn't a bad thing either. And I think it will be watched on Netflix. I think it's in the top 10, so that's good. And Leatherface was done brilliantly. And the ending was worth watching the movie because it just comes out of nowhere. You're like, oh my god, I can't believe that just happened, and I can't believe they just showed that. So I can't believe they got away with it. And so I would, if they made a sequel to it on Netflix, I would watch it because I had fun with it. It's just they need better writers. The director did a good job actually. There's some nice shots. There's some nice camera tricks, which is really cool. But the script is a big letdown, and that's what kind of ruins the film as a whole. But as a slasher movie, it does that beautifully, if you want to say that. And I had fun with it. It's a brand new movie. It's on Netflix. You don't have to pay to go see it if you have Netflix already. And I'd watch it if you're a horror fan, if you're a fan of that franchise, because I wouldn't say it's terrible or anything. it's worth it for the kills. Rokan goes, did Leatherface get cancelled? They do one scene because there's a group of social media influencers. So it's in the trailer. They're on this party bus, and Leatherface gets onto the bus, and instead of people getting scared, they all take out their phones and start to go on Instagram Live and Facebook Live. And they said to Leatherface, bro, do anything, you're cancelled. And Leatherface is there with a chainsaw. That scene is brutal. It's hard to watch because they're trapped on this bus with Leatherface and they have no way out. And it's done pretty well. Siani goes, I still need to watch this movie. And Rokan goes, I need to watch some for shits and giggles. Yeah, that's the type of movie it is. I'd watch it with a few friends, or maybe if you're having a few smokes, or if you're drinking.
All right, so let's now move on to Lord of the Rings. There's a new show coming from Lord of the Rings. I don't know if people know about this yet because they haven't been really highlighting this over the last couple of months and stuff. But right now we finally have a new trailer that dropped over the Super Bowl weekend, and I would say this is kind of like a teaser trailer because they didn't show a lot, but they showed pretty much enough to get a look of the show and the tone of the show and stuff. The first thing that jumped out to me was the production budget. I thought that it looked pretty massive, and we heard that this is going to be the most expensive show in history, and it shows, like, from what we have seen so far in the teaser, it looks like it's going to be massive, almost on the level of the movies. So yeah, it looks interesting to me. I still have to go check out the Lord of the Ring trilogy again, because I kind of forgot the story and stuff. So I have to go back and rewatch that to get prepared for this. But this teaser definitely looks interesting, and I'm absolutely gonna watch this. It releases in September, right? So there's still time, and yeah, it looks interesting.
Yeah, I wasn't impressed.
Really?
Yeah, I wasn't impressed by it at all. There's no big actors in it at
Yeah.
all either. And if there was somebody in it, like a big actor, I'd probably be more interested in it. But there's not. And like, it's hard for me to get behind this. I need to go watch the movies as well. I actually bought the trilogy and the DVD features the other day, and I'll definitely do a rewatch before the show. But yeah, it didn't show anything like too amazing in terms of action or amazing. Like, there's a few cool shots, but it didn't get me like excited for it at all. So maybe closer to the time, like, it is nearly a year out, so they will have a better trailer for it. But right now, I'm not like counting on the days, you know. And like is it a prequel or a sequel, or do you know?
Well, it's actually a prequel that happens before the Fellowship, the movie, and I don't know much about it. But it's supposed to be a prequel, and like I said, it kind of looks like a teaser because there's not much information in the trailer about the story, and like you said, there's no major actors. But what impressed me was the visuals. So
Yeah,
everything
I
looks epic and big and huge in scale. So I'm sure that it would be like Game of Thrones or something. Even Game of Thrones didn't have major stars and stuff, but that is still the biggest show in pop culture history. So yeah.
yeah, I like it's the most expensive show, but I think if you like put the budget together, it's just the same budget as a massive movie. If they made a Lord of the Rings movie, it would have been the
Yep.
same like budget for it. So it's to that degree because television is becoming movies now. The way it's shot. They are movies. The big ones, they do look like movies. So in terms, I'm not expecting to see the new Avatar or anything like that because the budget is a budget of a movie, and Amazon want this to hit hard, and they want this to be numerous seasons.
Mm-hmm.
So the budget to me, and people talking about it being the most expensive TV show of all time, yes, it is, but compared to a movie, it's just a regular movie for a massive movie in terms of the budget. So I'm not going to expect anything massive with this. But the next trailer will probably show
Yeah.
more. And if the next trailer comes out and it showcases that this is a grand thing, look at this, look at that, the action, the characters, the set pieces, then I'll be like, oh, now I'm interested. But as a teaser, I think they could have did something a little bit better for me. I think it was fine. And I think
You haven't
for
seen
somebody
Game
who's
of
not like a die,
Thrones.
I haven't finished Game of Thrones. No,
Yeah.
I will say I'm not really like I'm not one who gets fascinated by these types of
Yeah,
fantasy
me
worlds
neither.
at all. I remember seeing the Lord of the Rings movies in theaters just when I was a kid, though. But I can't really remember my experience that much. Only that they were very very long.
Yeah.
But I will go back and watch them. But like, there's no actor here that has my attention. You know what I mean? Like when I watch The Shrink Next Door, I'm a fan of Paul Rudd or Will Ferrell. I watch it because they're in it, you know. But here, there's no massive actor in it for me to get like attached.
Yeah.
So the marketing needs to get me attached. The next trailer needs to get me attached, big time. But look, I will admit that there is some cool shots in it. But I wasn't there like this is the coolest
Yeah.
thing. No, I can't wait to see it. I just wasn't. That's just me. And we have some people in the chat who are Newman says it's 1,000 years before the events of Hobbit. I need to watch the Hobbit movies as well. I've actually never seen the Hobbit movies. I know some people say they're bad.
No, actually
but I
they
haven't.
are good, but they people I think expected them to be more like the movies. But they're not
Yeah,
about the Lord of the Rings. They are about the hobbits, right? So obviously, but even then the scale is massive, and a lot of the things got chopped up by WB, so Peter Jackson got fucked up over there as well. So because of that, some people might not like it, but I enjoyed them. As Hobbit movies, I enjoyed them. I remember liking them. Benedict Cumberbatch plays a dragon in that, called Smog, and he does pretty amazing job in that. So
yeah.
that was one of the best scenes I think in the movie. The second one I think, but yeah, you should check out all the movies. They're pretty good.
Yeah, I will. I'll because I haven't watched them in a while, so maybe I don't appreciate
Yeah, me neither.
the grandness of it all and stuff like that. So I do have to do a rewatch. I remember playing the games though when I was younger, and they scared the shit out of me, especially the massive spiders
Yeah,
and there were those games were
yeah,
fun, but it was tough as well. And I definitely have to go back and do a massive rewatch. I bought a massive box set of the original trilogy and there's every single bonus feature on it as well. There's like 9 hours extra of just behind the scenes stuff, what the making of. So I've got a lot of stuff to get into there. So that should be interesting. But Rokon says, I think it looks rad. I think Prime is the perfect place to do it, considering that they've killed it with the boys and are getting into the fantasy franchise game like HBO and Netflix are.
they
Yeah,
also needed
like
this. They don't have much.
yeah. No, they don't have much at all. But when they do have shows, they seem they're good. Like, but they need that
Yeah,
big thing that attracts people. You know, like Netflix. The brand Netflix attracts
yeah,
people because it's so good. HBO Max is building its content big time. Apple TV, I think, and I think you agree, has the best content, but nobody watches it
yeah.
at all. Um, but yeah, they do need it. And Rokon goes, yeah, the show is about how Sauron fell from grace and became that Dark
Oh,
Lord.
nice. So like
And,
the Star Wars prequels.
yeah, the rise of Anakin. That's what we're seeing. It's a rip-off of George
It's a
Lucas's
requel.
prequel. Yeah, it's a prequel. Winter goes, I thought it looked gorgeous, well in line visually with the film trilogy. Let's also not forget there weren't many big names, with the exception of Elijah Wood, John Rhys Davis, and Kate Blanchett. Yeah, that's true. The original didn't have massive names either. Rokon goes, I think season 1 is like 20
Yeah,
episodes. I heard that rumor. Is that confirmed? Is that
yeah.
confirmed?
It's 20 episodes
Okay,
long,
I
as
check back.
well as the budget is
Okay,
super high, and the budget doesn't even include the money they paid for getting the rights to this platform. So it's like up there. One of
so
the
season
biggest.
1 is going to be okay. So maybe I was talking shit about the budget.
Yeah,
I didn't know it was
because
20
look,
episodes.
like WandaVision was, I think, the MCU's. I think WandaVision was, right, or was it Falcon and Winter Soldier? That was the highest, most expensive show they did. But the thing there is that that budget gets divided within episodes, and that goes up to like, around 40 to 60 million dollars. So that's not that big when compared to a movie. But the Lord of the Rings per episode, it goes up to like $100 million. So that is big.
Okay. Okay, sorry. I didn't know it was 20 episodes. I was expecting it to be 8
Each
episodes or
episode
10
is as
episodes.
much as a movie.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. Okay, I don't know anything. I'm not first. I shouldn't talk about this. But thanks, Rokon. 20
Yeah.
episodes. That's gonna. It better be good if it's 20 episodes.
Yeah. A lot
Imagine
of
if
filler
by
could be
episode
there.
4, it could be a slow burn. I wonder will it keep interest with people as well. You know,
Mhm.
it'll have to be good. Each episode will have to be pretty amazing. But yeah, they'll want that Game of Thrones type
Game of Thrones also had
looks.
only like 8 episodes. Well, first they had
Yeah.
13 episodes, and then 10 episodes, and then 8 episodes. So 20 episodes means there definitely have to be fillers, right? So
That's pretty uncommon as well for big shows to have this many
yeah,
episodes because like back, just to use Lost as an example, like that used to have like 24 episodes a season every season, and then like as the years, like The Walking Dead started with 6 episodes in its first season. It moved, I think the second season was 13 or 16, but then every other season after that was 16 episodes, and now even this season, the last season, is 24 episodes. But shows are usually only 8 episodes, 10 episodes. You don't see that too often with big shows anymore that they go past 10 episodes. So that's pretty interesting. But are people too kind of are they too used to these kind of shorter seasons? Can they stay interested for a 20 plus episode
with no
season?
major
The
star.
Flash has 20. Flash has 20 plus episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this better be good now for people to keep interest. Siani goes, rewatching all will definitely help. The whole franchise is amazing, and I'm excited for this series. Yeah, the hype is definitely there. Many people are excited for this. I'm not, but I'll get there. My hype will probably go up when I do a rewatch.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to Jurassic World. Well, so let me just start with this new franchise, right? I loved Jurassic World 1, and I thought it was a very good it brought back the franchise in a very good way. And I loved that movie and how, the cast is and all that. But I watched the second movie and I liked it even more. I know a lot of people like the first movie more, but I actually liked the second movie more because of certain scenes that were really, really good, and the um, villain the villain dinosaur was really scary, and the design was very creepy. Like, it was kind of like a cheesy villain, how they act. The dinosaur was basically acting like a human villain, which made it kind of scary because it shows intelligence. And a lot of the scenes were really horror like, and that I liked a lot. So yeah, I did like the second movie more, but I love both the movies. And obviously, I saw the short film that Colin Trevorrow also released, who was gonna be doing the Duel of the Fates Star Wars movie, but was replaced. But he's doing this one, and I'm very excited for this because it looks pretty amazing from the trailer, and so I don't know if you have seen the second movie. Have you seen the second movie?
I did. I watched it in
Right.
theaters,
So the
and
ending of that movie directly plays into this trailer. So that's pretty
yeah,
fascinating, and I'm excited to see how that plays out.
yeah. This trailer was really, I would call it kind of an epic trailer for this franchise. It had Sam Neill. Is it Sam Neill coming
Hmm.
back? You've also got Goldblum is coming back as well. Got the original cast coming back, plus with Chris Pratt and
Laura Dern.
Bryce Dallas Howard. Yeah, Laura Dern as well. Look, the first one with Chris Pratt, I thought was pretty enjoyable. I really liked that. And then the second one, I seen it in theaters, and I actually can't remember any of it. I don't know
Yeah.
what happened. I can't remember much of it. I remember like the where they were on an island or something, and all the dinosaurs were running, and there's like a volcano.
Yeah.
Did that happen in that movie?
There was that
Okay,
epic
that
shot of
happened.
the
Okay, I remember.
T-Rex.
Yes, I remember that
Yeah,
shot. I remember that scene, and then I remember another scene where Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard are on like a ship,
yeah,
cruise like a massive ship, and there's dinosaurs on it and stuff. But I can't remember the main plot or much about the movie, and I seen it in theaters. But maybe I've just watched so much stuff right now I can't remember. But I like Chris Pratt, and I'm not a huge fan of the franchise as a whole. Like I like the movies and stuff like that, and the original, of course, is iconic. The ones that came after that were okay. Maybe the third one wasn't that good, but this is we'll definitely have to do a rewatch of these as well to get into this kind of mood. But I thought this trailer was fantastic. It had some beautiful shots in it. Dinosaurs looked epic. Chris Pratt, the original cast, the new cast coming together. I call this the kind of nostalgia era right now.
yeah,
It seems like everybody's doing it. Ghostbusters, Scream, Spider Man, Matrix is back. You've got Jurassic World. So yeah, I thought the trailer was really good. I'm actually excited to see this because of the trailer. That really got my expectations high. I was kind of mid right now. I was like, okay, I'll watch it when it comes out, but I'm actually looking forward to seeing it now. And Colin Trevorrow is a very good director. And it's a pity he didn't get to do his Star Wars movie for me. I think he would have brought something a lot better than maybe J.J. Abrams and what that ended up being for the Rise of Skywalker, So yeah, I think this is pretty good, and it's definitely one that I will check out. But there's some great shots here. I love some of the shots of the dinosaurs, and just the way it was visually shot. It's amazing how like the dinosaurs obviously aren't real. It's all CGI, visual effects, and stuff like that. But it's amazing how they can make it look so natural and real with these movies, and that just fascinates me how they're able to do that. And yeah, I'm going to go for a good time. Massive dinosaurs, small dinosaurs, and hopefully that it sticks the landing. And is this supposed to be the end of the trilogy, or will it be the start of a new trilogy? I suppose that depends on the box office.
yeah.
But these movies do pretty well at the box office, so this should be a big hit.
Yeah, I think it will be big as well because the trailer was good. The movie now has to be good. And based on the short film that Colin did, I think this is in pretty much good hands. And the cinematography looks epic as well. So I don't see people not enjoying this. And the original cast is back for this one, and
Yeah,
they didn't have that in
and
the
you know what?
last two movies. So
Yeah, did you know what's awesome as well? Like, there's a shot where Sam Neill and Chris Pratt are saying like "Don't move" together at the same
yeah,
time with each of their respective cast. I love how they have the tree.
yeah,
You've got Goldblum, you've got Sam Neill, you've got Lauren Dern. They're in a shot
yeah,
together. Franchises bring back all these actors and don't seem to do that. Star Wars did it. The latest Scream movie did
yeah.
it. Ghostbusters actually did it, but of course one of the actors had passed away, but they got around that. But yeah, it was cool to have them all in one shot together, and that's good. I think Colin Trevorrow is very close grounded to Twitter and to like online fan base, that kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
He knows what would piss off people, and he knows what people would like. So I think he'll give people who are fans of the franchise what they want to see in terms of the original cast on screen together, having pretty cool moments, some callbacks, and of course elevating the recent cast too. So I think he's a good guy to have here. People like J.J. Abrams, and they get kind of messy in what they're trying to do, and they don't really perform um, as well as they should in respecting the original fan base and the new fan base. But I think this movie won't have a problem in that.
Yeah, I agree. All right. We can read some of the comments here.
Yes, 1 second. My thing's loading. There's a bad storm in Ireland. I don't know if anyone heard about it. Massive storm. I'm in the middle of the country, so it's not that bad. But if you're on the coast and stuff, there's massive winds and it's crazy right here right now. But we have some comments from Rokon. I appreciate that it's shot in gorgeous IMAX. Gorgeous IMAX. Yeah. Do you have an IMAX theater where you are, Casey?
Yep.
Yeah. I don't have that. I don't have. We have a thing here called the Galactic Theater, where the screen kind of opens. It like this is the screen size, say, and then when the movie starts, it goes wider, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
But I don't have an IMAX near me. In the city, there's one, but that's like an hour and a half away. I'm not going to go there every time for a movie, so I just have a regular theater that I have to
You
watch these
haven't seen
movies
No
on.
Way
But
Home there?
no, I haven't. I haven't
Come
seen it
on,
on the
man.
on the biggest screen. I know, man. But I'm keeping that for I'm saving money for a special day to watch a movie in IMAX, and I don't know which one it's going to be. Maybe I'm actually, I don't know if anyone knows this, but I'm seeing Zack Snyder's Justice League in a month in the city. It's being organized,
Nice.
so I'm looking. I actually get to see that on the big screen, so that's going to be awesome. I just said I'd throw that in there just to make everyone jealous. Winter goes, I don't care what anyone else says. I love the second film. I think it's bonkers. I mean, Trevorrow just has questionable ideas, but I loved it probably most due to The Impossibles. J.A.
Bayona.
Baina. How do you? What's that? What you talking about there?
Jay Bayona is the director.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So yeah, I love the second movie as well. I know a lot of people didn't like it. Um, Probably because it kind of was a tone shift from the first as well. You know how the Planet of the Apes movie, there's a massive tone shift from the first to the second?
Are you going to disrespect them movies, or
No, I mean,
are you going
I
to?
love them, but a lot of people get turned down when the second movie is not tonally consistent with the first. But I love the second movie actually more. Dawn was my favorite. And even here, this one is my favorite. So,
Yeah, and we have a comment from Newman. It's 1.5 hours away. Well, actually, no way home for him if he goes there.
the
It's so
the
far.
the theater is far from home.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
Good jokes there, guys. Rokon goes, J.A. Boyena also directed some great keen music videos. Is that the director who directed the second Jurassic World one?
I think he directed the first one, if I'm not wrong.
The first
Yeah.
one, okay. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, let's move on to the Elvis trailer, which I haven't seen. But I'm going to watch this movie because I like musical biopics and sports biopics because they are very inspirational and just the way they are made, and it's a story about one person's life. So it's interesting to get into that and all that. My favorite one so far is Bohemian Rhapsody. That was pretty amazing. uh, but yeah, I'm interested to watch this as well. I'm not as big of an Elvis fan. um Not that I don't like him, I just wasn't into his music. So I'm curious to know more about him. So I hope the movie provides that for me. But yeah, the trailer screenshots at least looks interesting to me. And what do you think of the trailer?
Yeah, it's when it started, I was like, this guy doesn't look anything like Elvis. I'm not too sure. But as the trailer went on, he started to talk, and he does sound like Elvis. He doesn't look like him perfectly, but he has that kind of nuance of him, that kind of that walk of him. And I think the trailer was pretty epic, and it kind of gives you that emotional feel as well. Tom Hanks is there with this mad accent.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of like a producer, like an agent for Elvis and stuff like this. And there's actually a pretty kind of interesting line in the trailer where Elvis goes like, "People won't remember me after I'm gone" and stuff like this. This was kind of the big obsession that he had, that he wanted to be remembered, and he had this fear that he wouldn't be. And this is in the trailer, and the trailer's really well done. And like at the start of the trailer, I was like, this doesn't look that good. But as it went on, the music started to play, different kind of Elvis music started to play. The trailer started to intensify, and I'm looking forward to this movie big time. I can't wait to watch this. This comes out in June, later this year, and I'm looking forward to going to watch this to see the life of Elvis.
Mm-hmm.
And near the end of the trailer, you get to see him in full Elvis form with the clothes that he wears, the sideburns, the music, the singing, just the dancing, and it looks fantastic. It looks really well done, and hopefully this is a great movie. And Bohemian Rhapsody made a lot of money. I think over 800 million, maybe 900 million, and that was a big hit, and that carried over to the Oscars as
Mm-hmm.
well. I think this will be a movie that comes out and will have legs. I think it will have Greta Showman legs and Bohemian Rhapsody legs. Where in terms of it comes out, it has a respective box office opening, but it maintains like that pull. As the weeks go on, people see it, it becomes an event. You go with your mom, or your dad, or your family, or your girlfriend. You go and you watch this Elvis movie because Bohemian Rhapsody felt like a concert because there's so many great moments in there where the singing's happening, the performing's happening. It feels like you're going to a concert. I hope this is kind of similar to it as well, and it's got a great kind of feel to it. And I want to go see. I don't know much about the story of Elvis in terms of his personal life and all that kind of stuff. I just know his music, and he's one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Absolutely, one of the greatest performers ever. And yeah, the actor that plays Elvis is Austin Butler, and he at the start of the trailer I was like, this guy is not Elvis whatsoever. But as it went on, yeah, this guy is Elvis, and he does it pretty well. So this is what I'm really looking forward to. If I was to make a top 10 list now of my most anticipated movies, Elvis will be in there because of this trailer. I watched it, I think, 4 or 5 times because it was that good. So this is one that I'm definitely counting on the days to go and see. And then we have a comment from Rokon. The only concern I have for the Elvis biopic is that it's Baz Luhrmann directing it, and his style is very colorful and zany. Though I do like Gatsby and Moulin Rouge.
Gatsby was
Yeah,
awesome.
he does have that kind of. Yeah, he does have that. Yeah, he does have that kind of style to him where it's very colorful, and it seems kind of. Would fake be a word, or kind of? It's like if you were to
Like a
create your own
musical.
world or something like that. He kind of. What you
Like a
said?
musical.
Yeah, it's something like that. He kind of has this style to him where it looks like he created it. It's like, I want this to be bright, I want
Yeah.
that to be bright. It's kind of like, it reminds me in a way of the what's the Mike Myers, where he's the cat movie. Everything that's kind of over exaggerated. The colors are all over exaggerated. The costumes are over exaggerated. It's not that bad, but it reminds me. His kind of movies remind me of that. Like, what's that movie called? Is it Cat in the Hat? But I'm just using that as an example because everything that he does in his movies is kind of exaggerated. So hopefully this one isn't. Hopefully it's kind of, it feels like it's supposed to be a biopic, so it's supposed to feel real. So hopefully it does. And Rokon goes, still waiting for the David Bowie biopic. That will eventually come as well, definitely. And that'll be a good one because he did movies as well, and of course he was a brilliant singer. But Elvis did movies too, so I wonder if they'll go into that in this because he did some movies as well that I actually haven't seen, but I want to check out. Winter goes, I love Baz Luhrmann's films and his look. This looks gorgeous. Tom Hanks is always great. I never heard of the actor, but he looks so good as Elvis and just very attractive, and he does personify Elvis. And Tom Hanks being in this is actually pretty big because he's one of the best actors ever, and him being in this is a good sign that the script must be at least good. Hopefully, it all comes together in a big way. Yeah, but Casey, go check out the trailer. It's pretty good. And yeah, I don't know much about Elvis, but I don't want to go too deep into him as a person. I want to watch the movie first. In that kind of way, I don't want to go in with any pre-existing expectations of what they should cover and what they should not cover. I kind of want this to be my first experience of learning about him. Newman goes, true, Austin Butler looks so good as Elvis. Yeah, he does. He has that. I love his line delivery there on the trailer, and the kind of tan as well. He did pull it off pretty good. So hopefully this is a good one.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, I'm definitely going to watch the trailer, but I'm already interested in the movie, so I'm watching the movie regardless. So yeah, let's move on to some Disney and DC stuff, starting with Boba Fett. All right, so I haven't seen the first 3 episodes still, and this is just my review of the fourth, fifth, sixth, and 7th episodes. I saw the 4th episode because it just had the Mandalorian, and it was his backstory. So it was kind of like just a prequel to the 3rd season that's going to come. So I had to watch that, and it was pretty good. That episode showed his his story about Mandalore and how all that stuff happened. So I liked that. But after that, it was the story of Luke and Grogu, and I loved that episode. I had some issues with it because they kind of relied too heavily on the Luke stuff. I much prefer that the story continues forward with Mandalorian and Grogu, so I'm glad that that was also there. But too much about Luke and stuff, I'm not really liking that. although he's my favorite character and I should like that, but it's kind of like they are just relying on that to, to get people to watch and get more interest in that. But I can understand why they would do that, because Boba Fett is not really that big of a character. So, you have to get something in there so that people watch it. So, from that aspect, I do think that was a good thing. But I think that they should have sprinkled all this throughout the season, so people like me who weren't going to watch Boba Fett would actually give it a chance. But since the first three episodes didn't have anything, I could just easily skip those, and then I jumped right into the fourth episode and watched the rest of the show. And I didn't miss anything. Like, I understood everything, and that was pretty good. So, Cad Bane, his introduction was also pretty good, but obviously he died like just in one episode, in the next episode. So that was a little bit disappointing. I hope he comes back somehow. You know that they showed him, his thing was beeping, so maybe he'll be alive or something. But yeah, he was a great character. And obviously, um I forget his name, the sheriff. He was
Cobb Vanth.
Cobb Vanth. Yeah, he was amazing as usual. I always love seeing more of him. And the Mandalorian, of course, is the center of all these shows. So it's always great seeing him. And even when he is fighting alongside Boba Fett, he just stands out and he shines. So it's always amazing seeing that. But yeah, the Luke stuff was also cool, and I enjoyed the half of Boba Fett.
Yeah. I have problems with the show, but I watched episode one when everyone else did, and it was very slow. And I was like, okay, that was okay. Wasn't anything amazing, And episode two came, I didn't watch it. Then episode three came, and then I was like, okay, I'll just wait for every episode to drop so I can binge it, because I just feel this series is going to be very slow. It's not Mando, it's not Baby Yoda and stuff like that. So, but then, you know, of course, I was spoiled about Luke returning, and that big episode and stuff like that, which I don't mind to be spoiled about this kind of stuff. I don't really get annoyed by it, but just an anticipation for the season finale, I binged the six prior episodes, and I'm glad I did. It actually, the story was more engaging with Boba Fett. It flowed a little bit better. Still slow, but it was a better binge than a week to week watching. And then going into the season finale, action packed and stuff like that. But like, okay, the first four episodes are about Boba Fett, and that's fine. It's about him getting out of the pit, how he became who he is right now, where he's been, stuff like that. That's fine. It's a Boba Fett story, but it felt like that they thought, oh, Boba Fett isn't a big enough star to carry his own show, so we need to bring in Mando, we need to bring in Grogu, we need to bring in Luke, Cobb Vanth, Cad Bane, all these characters. And that's okay, you can do that. But I think the show was mismarketed. I think it was mistitled. It's called The Book of Boba Fett. If they had said something, if they called it something else, or even in the trailer, they had Mando, they had Baby Yoda, they had Luke, drop hints that they're going to be in this series, I think that would have been a lot better, because I can guarantee you that there's people who watched episode one or episode two and thought this was too slow, maybe checked out. Or there is people out there that didn't watch this show because they're only a fan of Mando and Baby Yoda.
Like me.
Like I wasn't, yeah. But like I'm an average Star Wars fan, but I loved the Mandalorian series. I thought that was terrific. So much coolness in that.
Because it
And
was
Mando
all
such an
new.
awesome character. Yeah, it was new, and I love that series so much. But the problem I have is season two of Mando ended with Grogu being taken by Luke Skywalker, and you had that emotional scene with Pedro Pascal. Terrific acting, fantastic ending, and you're like, what's going to happen next season? Like, what is going to happen? And they put important parts of season three into the Book of Boba Fett episode 5 and 6 and 7. I'm like, this is very unfair to fans who love The Mandalorian and only watch The Mandalorian or the movies, and they didn't watch Book of Boba Fett. They missed out on this reunion of the two characters. And I just think that doesn't sit right with me at all. Like, they'll probably fill it in season three. They'll show us, and like, this is what happened in the last episode. But I can guarantee you there'll be people watching Mandalorian season three they'll show us that they're reunited, and people will be like, when did this happen? When did this happen? So I don't think they should have did that, to be honest with you. Okay, have Mando, have Grogu, but don't have them get reunited. You can do that. But I didn't like how they threw in season 3 of Mando into the Book of Boba Fett.
From
it didn't make sense to me.
From our perspective, from the fans' perspective, I can totally understand that we will react like this, but it's totally Disney saying you have to watch Boba Fett. Come on now. They pull us into that show by showing all this in there because they know that Mando is big and Grogu is big and Luke is big. So if they want their other shows to be successful, they need to have the connections and stuff. It's what MCU also does, but MCU for Kevin Feige's main thing is that you don't have to watch all the movies to understand every single thing that's going on in the show, because if you just watch Falcon and Winter Soldier without watching any of the MCU movies, you'll still understand the main plot of the show, right? It's not like in episode 4 or 5 WandaVision episodes come in and you don't understand what's going on. So that's one thing I think the Boba Fett thing is different from the MCU, because this literally is completely different from Boba Fett. It's not even related. And then after 2 episodes, they finally got Mandalorian to come and join to fight him in the finale. I think this is kind of not how you should do it, but yeah.
It was, don't get me wrong, it's cool to see these characters pop up. And I think Jon Favreau is taking the MCU approach.
Yeah.
He's making Star Wars, Disney Plus into the MCU. Having characters pop up, cool cameos, stuff like that. It gets online engagement going. It rebuilds the brand of Star Wars. It kind of seems a little bit damaged amongst diehard fans. So Boba Fett has this big battle and he's getting a team together. So he recruits Mando, Cobb Vanth comes into it, Cad Bane comes into it, Luke is there, Ahsoka Tano is there as well. That's okay, but it felt like such a big thing to put into this series when Mando season 3 has to come and many fans are left on a cliffhanger of what's happening next. So
they'll be confused if they just watch the season premiere and Grogu is just there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Many fans missed out on a great reunion, which was emotional when Grogu jumped into Mando's arms. Like, that was emotional. But they're missing out on that. So I just don't didn't like that at all. But yeah, Tamora Morrison as Boba Fett, he's terrific. He's fantastic. But he was put to the side a lot of the time. And even in the season finale, he's not in large majorities of it. But the season finale was action packed. It was just action for 40 minutes. Robert Rodriguez directed it. His type of action and stuff like that. It was cool on the surface, but it's like it's a series with cool moments instead of a really cool story. I loved the character of Cad Bane. It's such a cool character that I was like, they should have introduced this character in episode 1.
Exactly.
Even just a small scene and built it up. And like, who is this guy? Wow, he comes into a room and he says something like, "Where is Boba Fett?" And then it ends. Like, who's this guy? And then episode 2, there's a small scene of him getting a weapon or something. And then episode 3, there's him kind of on his journey to find Boba Fett. You drop little things and you're like, oh, this character's pretty cool. What's going on here? And then the interaction with him and Cobb Vanth. I think this is the best scene in the entire series, was the scene between Cobb Vanth and Cad Bane, the standoff. Like a western, they're getting ready to shoot. Should have been a little bit longer, but that was a cool scene. I knew that Cobb Vanth wasn't dead, because he got shot at the side and he kind of went to the ground. It didn't show him die or anything. And then the next episode, they have Boba Fett kill Cad Bane with no build-up whatsoever. Yes, of course, I know there's the animated stuff, but not everybody watches all of that. So there should have been more groundwork there to show these characters have history, and here's why, and this is why this kill is impactful, and this is why this is a big thing. But what I liked about the kill was Boba Fett is a bounty hunter, and he killed him. He didn't keep him as a prisoner. He didn't show him mercy. He killed him because he's a bounty hunter. I like that. He didn't go back on his ways that he was brought up with. So that was cool. Cobb Vanth being thrown in there. Cobb Vanth comes into episode 1 at 6 and he's killed off. And then the episode 7 post-credit scene is him alive in the chamber. It's just the show altogether just make that much sense. It has cool moments. I still enjoyed the series, but like from like a writing point of view and just a story point of view, it just make a lot of sense all of the
It's
time.
also weird because
But
the same writers from Mandalorian wrote this.
yeah, it's yeah, and like there's one thing then with the character of Boba Fett's like right hand woman.
Oh,
Um,
Agent May. Fennec.
Fennec, yeah, she goes something like, maybe this isn't life for us, or something like that.
Yeah.
Or no, Boba Fett says that. Boba Fett's like, maybe this isn't for us.
Then
Like,
why?
you just spent 7 episodes trying to be in the position that you're in right now, and you're saying maybe this isn't what I want to do.
Yeah.
And then Fennec is like, well, if we don't do it, who else will? It's
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It seemed like an enjoyable, amazing moments mess. So, you know, but Winter goes the back to tank was not the best way to set up flashbacks, and I think it might have been better with all the flashbacks covering the first 3 episodes and moving to present day. Loved seeing Cad Bane. Yes, it had the flashbacks all over the place. It should have just started with him, like the flashbacks are episode 1, episode 2. Then we see him in episode 3 where he is now, episode 4, build it up. But the flashbacks kind of seemed everywhere. It's kind of hard to see, where am I right now? What is he doing? What is the bank of the tank? The back of the tank. And yeah, it was a little bit kind of confusing. Rokon goes, I feel like Boba Fett took a bit to get going, but ended solidly. Yeah, it's a slow burn from episode 1 to 4 because it's about Boba Fett, but then they throw in all the A-listers, and then it gets a little bit more energy to it, and it has like it would be like if Peacemaker was pretty slow and was kind of like, oh, this show isn't that good, but then Batman appeared in episode 4, and like, oh my god, Ben Affleck, and in episode 5 Superman's in it, and then you would kind of forgive all the bad moments and all the poor writing because the Justice League is in it. We all would.
Yep.
So yeah, it was kind of like that.
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna watch season 2, obviously, if that
I
happens.
don't even think there will be a season.
Yeah. But the show's finale had the most views, even more
Yeah.
than the season finale of Mandalorian season 2. So that's pretty
Yeah.
telling.
Well, we have to take into consideration since then, Disney Plus has made it to different markets. It's available in more places right now, and it does have more subscribers.
That's true.
And the Star Wars brand wasn't as like strong, but Mandalorian did all the heavy lifting to get fans back on side and interested in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
So it may have had more viewers, but I think it had more viewers because of Mandalorian.
Yeah, and the next show isn't even about new characters and stuff. It's just directly about Obi-Wan, and that's going to be huge, dude. That's going to be huge.
This is the one thing, like as I said, I'm not like a mad Star Wars fan, but the one thing I've ever wanted after watching the prequels is an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie, or series, and we're getting it.
Yeah,
and I'm a huge fan of Ewan McGregor. I will watch.
And we're getting Anakin.
And Anakin's in it too, and probably more will show up as well. But I have big hopes for this one. And I forget the woman who is the showrunner and who's directing it, but she is directing all episodes, which for me is important because sometimes you bring in different directors. It seems like The Mandalorian is like director of the week. Bryce Dallas Howard's coming in.
Our episode was pretty good though.
Yeah, but it feels like a show off. It feels like the director's bigger than the actual episode at times. Robert Rodriguez is coming in to direct episode 5. Here we have this woman, and she's directing all of the episodes. Yeah, so it's her vision. It's she's not going to be getting like somebody else in to do episode 4 or something like that. So I'm really looking forward to that. Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan. Hopefully it's kind of, I know it won't be too dark because it's Star Wars and it's Disney, but darkish, gritty.
But I think it will be because the prequels kind of were dark.
I watched episode 1 recently. I'm going to do like a continuity rewatch of Star Wars. And that episode 1 isn't that good. But of course, the Darth Maul lightsaber fight sequence is worth the entire movie just to see that. But Ewan McGregor is just fantastic in the role. So looking forward to seeing that. Now Anakin come back and Hayden Christensen. So yeah, I have high hopes for that one.
Me too.
Really looking forward to that. And we have some other comments. Winter goes, Cad Bane first appeared in Star Wars The Clone Wars Season 2, if I remember correctly. His design was based on Lee Van Cleef's Angel Eyes, Sentenza from the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Really? Oh, that makes a lot of sense then because of the Western
Yeah.
feel to it. He's such a cool character. I thought the character was awesome. It's a pity that they kill him off, but it is Star Wars. Like, the timeline's jumping
I think
all over the place,
they'll
so he
bring
could
him
pop
back.
up.
Like they cannot go through all of that just for one episode.
Yeah. There was something people were saying, like the breakdown videos when he died, it was like a
Yeah.
light flashing or something. So maybe there's like, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe like he has this robot that comes to him if he's in trouble and fixes him up. I don't know, but maybe that alerts somebody
Yeah.
that he's in trouble and they come and they
Captain
save him.
Marvel
I
is
don't know.
coming to save him.
Like Cobb Vanth is still alive, so
Yeah.
so we could. Deborah Chow, that's it. Deborah Chow is directing all of what we want. Also, Joel Edgerton
Oh
is
yeah.
coming back too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've high hopes for that. Deborah Chow, high hopes, big time. So hopefully, I hope there's not too many cameos in it.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be either because of the time period it's in. But do you know what I would love to see? I would love to see Samuel L. Jackson come back as Mace Windu. Because you know the way he fell, but you didn't get to see him die. Like, he could have survived
Yeah.
somewhere.
If you don't see them die on screen and get
That's it.
buried, they're coming back.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the next topic. So Paramount Plus recently had their investor day and they announced a bunch of titles, movies and shows for their streaming service as well as theaters. So let's dive into some of those. First, we have Halo, and the series isn't even out yet. The series is releasing in March, and they've already greenlit season 2. Firstly, I think this is not as big of a deal because I think they're just following standard procedure as Star Trek. They also greenlit Discovery season 2 as well before release, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So they tend to have these 2-season deals usually. So I think it's a good move, and it also shows confidence in the show, and also obviously they spent a lot on the production and stuff of this show, so it cannot just be used for one season. It will save a lot of money for them to reuse this stuff for season 2 and continue the story, because I know a lot of people will definitely watch this, especially now that Paramount Plus is now growing and has a lot of this content now. So yeah, it also looks very good. Like, even for people who are not fans of the game or never played it, I think it looks pretty good. The trailer, even for non-gamers. So yeah.
We reviewed the trailer when it came out, and I think the two of us were blown away by it.
Mhm.
In terms of some of the visuals, were pretty striking. The suit of the Halo character, Master Chief, pretty cool suit. Some awesome shots there as well. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. Just look, the trailer blew me away and it got me interested. Never played the games or anything. Don't know anything about the world, but yeah, them announcing season 2 shows great confidence in season 1, and they want to build a franchise off this. They want to build this as one of the big showcases for Paramount Plus. So this is a good sign. But hopefully the series is good. We've seen stuff that got renewed for a season 2 where they've announced a future sequel before the first one came out, and then the movie came out and it wasn't that good, or the show wasn't that good. So it has to bring a return for them as well. So like, if this show came out and it was terrible, people weren't watching it, season 2 would get tanked, something like that. So, but this is a good sign. Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching the show. And money, as like we talked about Uncharted, in terms of the gamers will be the ones who say if it's source material worthy or not. But at the end of the day, they won't be the ones who dictate if the show is successful or watched. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that general audiences dictate all of this. Fans, of course, can have the online discourse. They kind of sway the conversation online, definitely. But in terms of sales at the box office or numbers, we've seen this with Peacemaker right now, which is the most watched show in the world, according to some data. DC fans online many people were against it and didn't like it, but it ended up being a massive hit. General audiences dictate that shit, they do. So it's I remember when Aquaman was coming out on the back of Justice League 2017, people thought it would bomb. People said, "I'm not watching this because it's not a part of Zack Snyder's world." Those people, and your perception online would make you think that, geez, this might not do well because people online are saying it's going to be bad, but then it comes out and these things do well because general audiences dictate it. So I think it's a lesson for all of us that we don't have the power we think we do when we're a diehard fan of something. I'm somebody who was a diehard Power Rangers fan, and when the movie came out in 2017, I was like, "This is going to be a hit! Come on, this is so good! Everyone has to go see this." But then nobody did, and the sequel never happened. So, but this needs to resonate with general audiences. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm very much looking forward to this. It's one of my favorite games ever, and I'm so happy that this even exists. So I cannot wait to dive into this. Next up, we have Transformers. All right, so I wasn't big on the recent Transformer movies. The last two, I think, and Dark of the Moon was my favorite one. And I think that was the peak of it, and then it went through a gradual downfall. And I did like Bumblebee though, the reboot that they made, and I thought that was pretty good. Um, and I think that should have continued, and I think that's what's happening. So, Transformers: Rise of the Beasts is going to be released next year, and that's the next movie. But also, they have greenlit three movies together, so it's going to be a new trilogy, and I'm curious to see where it goes. I hope it's good. I hope Michael Bay isn't directing. And I hope they're good.
What's the agenda against Michael Bay? The man made, no, I don't like, if you watch the 2007 Transformers movie, it still holds up in terms of the visual effects and stuff.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it was made the year it came out. Like, it looks fantastic. And Michael Bay, you know what you're going to get with him as a director. But like, I always loved his Transformer movies, except for The Last Night, which I didn't. The aspect ratio changes and that just gave me a headache watching it. It kind of went from full screen to the black bars. And do you remember that when it came
Yeah.
out? Yeah, I was watching that in theater, and I thought my movie theater was broken or something. I was like going to complain to the manager. I was like, "What's going on with the screen?" It was actually a director's choice. But yeah, there's Rise of the Beast is coming out. Stephen Caple Jr. is directing, who directed Creed 2. That's coming out next year, I think. And yeah, this is the start of a new trilogy. And what's being reported is that this is a soft reboot, and they're going to be using time travel. I think in some of the animated movies or series, they use time travel, and there's going to be new Transformers introduced. And instead of them transforming into cars, they transform into animals. And one of the characters being introduced is Optimus Primal,
Mhm.
being voiced by Ron Perlman. And this isn't getting rid of Optimus Prime or Bumblebee or any of them. They exist as well, but these new Transformers are coming in as well from the time travel or like a multiverse type of thing. So we have the original, and we also have the new Transformers coming together for this massive time travel movie. And it's going to be a soft reboot. I hope it doesn't reboot it too much. I hope the previous movies still stand. Because Bumblebee, everyone was saying when Bumblebee came out, this is a reboot. This is the start of a new kind of timeline for the Transformer franchise. But it didn't really change anything. I think it was more in line with what we got to see
What?
in the Michael Bay one than going against it.
The whole designs were different in the beginning.
Yeah, in a way, but like it still it didn't do anything to say this is a new thing. Like this never happened with Shia LaBeouf
I
or
don't
Mark
know.
Wahlberg.
It's a
It never.
Bumblebee origin story, and the
I don't know,
things were
man.
happening on
It
Cybertron.
didn't go against it, but it was a prequel. It didn't say anything. I think it's the same universe. That's what I
All
did.
right.
I think it's. I'm, I'm just a fan of those 5 movies, and I want
I'm fan of the
the
three movies
continuity.
though. I don't like the last two,
Yeah,
even though they
yeah,
looked pretty epic. They were massive in scale. I saw the story,
yeah.
and as soon as Shia left, I just stopped caring.
Yeah, it's a pity he did leave. Now, even Rokan's going against me. Says Bumblebee was clearly a reboot of the
Yep.
franchise. And look, I don't care,
I
guys.
respect your
Bumblebee's
feelings.
the origin,
I respect your opinion,
but I look
but
at
you're
it like
wrong.
it's the same continuity, and they just changed the
Sure.
designs. That's all that
Sure.
happened. But the Cybertron scene at the start is it Cybertron? No,
Yes.
and the opening of
Yeah.
Bumblebee, that was cool.
It
That
was
was pretty
kind of,
cool.
that movie kind of was like Man of Steel, right? There's Krypton sequence at the
Yeah,
beginning, and there's the villain that comes in as well with the hero. Both, go at each other in the end. Kind of was like the Superman versus Zod, and then there's Cybertron Krypton fight. I thought that was funny, but I did like that movie, and it is a good reboot of the franchise, which I
well,
appreciated.
yeah. Well, it didn't make as much as Michael Bay one,
I don't
so
think they called it a
was it
reboot
really a
though.
reboot? That's what I'm
Yeah, they
saying. Like
never called it a
the
reboot.
reports were like, yeah, wiping away all of what Michael Bay did, but it actually didn't. It was just its own thing.
Mhm.
And if you wanted, like, if they made like in Transformers 6, if they wanted to talk about the Bumblebee origin and also reference, like, pick and choose what you want to reference the previous movies in that kind of way. Like DC kind of does that in a way as well. The X-Men movies did that.
Mhm.
They talk about stuff that they want to use for the current story. They could still do that if they wanted to. It's not to be a mad reboot, but yeah, they're supposed to use time travel, and we'll see how it goes. But hopefully, Michael Bay's like this is the Snyderverse to me. This is the Michael Bay verse. Are they erasing the Michael Bay verse of the Transformers movie? If
I
they
mean, he
do,
had
I'm
five
gonna be
movies.
pissed. He did have 5 movies, the most successful Transformer
Yeah.
movies. So he is the blueprint.
Bumblebee
He is the
unfortunately
blueprint.
just wasn't as widely appreciated or liked. I don't know why. But those of us who have seen the movie, I think they all liked it, for the most part. I haven't seen anyone complain
Yeah,
about the movie yet. Because it was very safe too. It didn't take much risks. It was following the templates of certain good movies that came before it. So that could be one reason. And Peacemaker was in it. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and yeah, maybe didn't have that big actor. I don't know. It's hard to know why he didn't do
Oh,
that
Haley
well. And
Steinfeld
it
is
had
now
to.
big.
She's big
Yeah.
now, yeah. Maybe I don't know. Maybe because maybe if they called it Transformers, it would have did a lot
Yeah.
better. And basically, even though it was a Bumblebee movie, the Transformers were in it, so maybe they should have called it Transformers, colon
Yes.
something else, to help with the marketing. But yeah, I'm looking forward to 6, 7, and 8. Hopefully, they're good. And there's an animated series coming later this year on Nickelodeon, I think. I think that's what I still have to see. And there's an animated movie that's going to come to theaters as well in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
So they're very much going in the direction of bringing Transformers on a regular
Yeah.
basis. The movie, look, you could laugh at the animated movie that's going to theaters, but Into the Spider-Verse was a movie that was laughed at, and that went to theaters, and people loved it, and it was really big. You just never know. So hopefully, this new phase for Paramount of the Transformers universe does pretty well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And Winter says, yes, Cybertron's design was far more in line with the animated series, as were the Transformers themselves. That's why I consider it a different universe from the original. The scene was brilliant, but like,
When
I don't think
even
you could ever
Naomi
do like a
says
2 hour.
that it's a different universe, you have to agree to that.
I'm going to do some research. I'll come back in the next show and I'll tell you why it's the same universe as. Naomi, you spend all day on Twitter telling us that Shazam, Prey, and all these movies are in the Snyderverse, and people say it's not, and you're very passionate about it, and I agree with you. But I'm gonna go do some educating now. I'll come back next week with a really strong argument because right now I don't have any. Rokan goes, Bumblebee was out in a month of packed movies. It was on the same weekend as Spider-Verse and Aquaman. That's right.
Yeah,
The
that's the reason. Yeah.
release date wasn't, and Aquaman was a big hit, which nobody would have predicted really.
Mhm.
Like if back then a Transformers movie was coming out and an Aquaman movie was coming out, I probably would have said Aquaman would have made less.
Yes.
That kind of way. But like the movie just hit hard and did very well. So yeah, it's true. We did come out in a packed window, but looking forward to all these new Transformers being introduced and a new direction, new directors, and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah. So moving on to the next announcement that they did. It's my favorite one of them. Star Trek 4. Dude, I love the JJ trilogy, and the cast is amazing. Obviously, Chris Pine is there. He is just awesome in these movies, and um, Zachary Quinto plays Spock, and he's also amazing. These two basically make the whole franchise, and there's also Simon Pegg, and there's um, who's he from The Boys? Billy Butcher.
yeah,
Yes, Carl Urban. He plays Bones. So I really like all three movies. I think they did a very good job in rebooting the franchise. But also now this franchise is kind of in a different timeline, right? It's called the Kelvin timeline, and I actually really like it, although a lot of people don't like it because it's not in the original, universe and stuff. I like the original trilogy as well, but I also like this one a lot. So we've been hearing since a lot of years that Chris Pine and Chris Hemsworth were negotiating, but they were not. The deal was not going through because obviously these two are very extremely expensive actors, and Star Trek movies don't make a lot. They're not as huge. They don't pull in box office as Star Wars do. So
was it true that the studio wanted to reduce all
yes,
their salaries because the movie's not making that
yep,
much, and then the actors, of course, they're actors, they want to be
yep,
paid, and like they don't want to take a pay decrease.
yeah,
So was all that story true at the time? Was that why negotiations broke
yeah.
down?
That is exactly it, and especially because Chris Pine was on a roll at that time with Wonder Woman and other movies, and obviously Hemsworth was also huge during Thor Ragnarok, Infinity War, Endgame, and all that. So they cannot afford them, with this type of box office because these movies are not some small, grounded version of Star Wars. They're as big as Star Wars. If you see these movies, the scale is literally as big as Star Wars. So if you make these movies that expensive and you have the expensive actors as well, you expect the movies to do like 800 million, 900 million, 1 billion, but they don't do that. So they have to, consider all that stuff. So I understand why the negotiations weren't happening, but I'm finally so happy to see that they're returning. And I cannot wait to see that. Have you seen any of the trilogy?
I've never seen a minute of Star Trek content, but from TV spots and trailers and stuff like that, maybe scenes on Twitter or things like that. I've never watched anything of the universe of Star Trek because when I was getting into movies, there was no really new Star Trek movies coming out as such. I know the last one came out, 2016, was it? Into Darkness? Was that the last one?
No, yeah, Into Darkness it's called, yeah. The third one.
Yeah, so it wasn't like a big thing for me. Like The Force Awakens was a big thing coming out. So I rewatched all of the Star Wars. Well, I actually watched all the Star Wars movies for the first time, and that was a great experience. But like Star Trek wasn't on that scale in terms of people talking about it and the engagement online and stuff like that. So I never felt the need to watch them. And then, of course, they didn't make any new ones recently. And I was going to watch Star Trek Discovery, I think it's
Yeah.
called, which I'm forgetting the actress's name. She was on The Walking Dead.
Oh, Burnham?
Zanika
No,
Green, I
yeah,
think it is.
I was
I was
naming
going.
the character.
What were you going to say? Oh yeah, yeah. I wouldn't know the characters' names, but I was going to check it out just for her, but I ended up didn't. But yeah, I will watch the JJ movies closer to when this one is coming out as a rewatch, and like I might watch the old ones. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff.
I like the Star
watch,
Trek
so.
new trilogy more than the Star Wars new trilogy. Definitely.
Yeah, and like I'm familiar with some of the kind of lore and stuff because I listen to Robert Meyer Burnett's channel, and he does be on the John Campea show, and he's a big Trekkie, and he is very passionate about saying that the new
Yep.
Star Trek, movies and shows are terrible and nothing like what he grew up with and stuff like that. So I do like his discussions about them, but I've never watched them, and I probably will have a different opinion because it's my first time watching them and stuff like that. So I will get around to checking them out. But in terms of this movie, I love Chris Pine. Chris Hemsworth might come back, so I probably will check it out when it comes around. But I didn't get excited or anything like that. I don't feel like the fan base is as big as Star Wars. It probably
Yeah,
isn't
it's
because I
not.
don't see too much discussion about it at all
Yeah.
online. So I'm happy for fans who like those movies, and yeah, I'll watch them at some stage, probably closer to when this new one comes
I'm
out.
sure you'll like the new trilogy, and will definitely be happy that this movie is getting made, because the core of this franchise is basically Captain Pike, which is played now by Chris Pine. So the core of it is Captain Pike and Spock, and they have a very good journey throughout the three movies. So it's very emotional and it's all connected. It's very coherent and consistent. So there's a feeling of a trilogy here, as opposed to the Star Wars sequel trilogy, which didn't even have good new characters to begin with. So I think you'll definitely like this a lot. And Chris Pine obviously delivers emotional performances really well, and he's the heart of this franchise. So yeah, I'm very happy that he came back. I'm happy that this is getting made. My only concern is that Matt Shankman is directing, who did WandaVision. I liked WandaVision, but I'm not sure how he will handle Star Trek, because he doesn't have the experience of directing something as big as this. So I'm kind of worried about that. But as soon as I see a trailer, I will know what this will look like. So I'm just waiting for that.
The writers are a big part of this, so whoever's on the writing team would probably dictate whether this is good or not. So I think the writers are important for this more than probably the director, because like I think the writers for movies get overshadowed
Yeah,
a lot because you got the stars, you got the directors, but a good script is so
yeah.
important
It
to all this.
starts
So
from
I'm a
the
big fan.
script. Yeah,
Yeah, it does. So it needs to be. You need to get the right team involved.
absolutely. All right. So next one is Sonic. Sonic. Okay, so they made two huge announcements, like just in one single tweet. Basically, Sonic 2 hasn't released yet, but they announced that Sonic 3 is officially in development, and also announced a Knuckles spin-off movie that will be coming on Paramount Plus, which is interesting because they're basically doing the whole cinematic universe thing now, and I am excited because I loved the first movie. I thought it was a very delightful movie. It wasn't that huge in scale, but it did what it needed to do. That is to deliver a good story and get everyone to like it. So I'm really glad about that. The story was pretty good. The characters are pretty good. The voice actor Ben Schwartz was amazing in the role. Jim Carrey obviously is awesome. So the second movie looks even bigger and better than the first one, which is not a surprise because the first one was kind of smaller in scale, smaller story, but it was fun and I really loved it. So I'm excited to see this one. This one looks even bigger. And now they finally announced that the third movie is also coming, and there's also a spin-off show or movie coming, which okay, yeah, it's a spin-off series with Knuckles. So obviously I'm gonna watch both of these. But yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I love the first Sonic movie. It was so much fun, and it was vintage Jim Carrey
Yeah,
doing his thing. Ben Schwartz, fantastic. James Marsden, my Cyclops was so fun as well. Um, and the new one comes out on my birthday, so I can't wait to go watch that on my birthday. I'm going to see that and the new Michael Bay movie Ambulance for my birthday, so that's going to be a great day for me. Um, But that's Michael Bay's Snyderverse. But the Knuckles series is interesting because this character is going to be introduced in Sonic 2. Idris Elba's doing the voice. So that's interesting. They're doing a whole entire series about the character. So, but they're trying to build this Marvel Cinematic Universe with Sonic for Paramount Plus and theaters. And they must have a huge faith in Sonic 2 to greenlit 3 this, this early, because the right time to greenlit 3 would have been like the opening weekend
Right?
of Sonic, to jump people up. Like, oh wow, this is getting a third movie already, so I should go see this one. And the second one, or the first one, came out just like before the pandemic. It was one of the last movies I got to see in theaters, and I had a great time. Fantastic, just so much fun, especially the slow mo bar scene was fantastic. It reminded me of Quicksilver from
Mm-hmm.
X-Men: Days of Future Past. And the music was awesome as well, so it was good fun. Looking forward to the second one on my birthday. Knuckles, I'll check that out. Yeah, this is a building universe, and I hope it does really well at the box office. And it has the chances, like this brand is building. You got the gamer community as well. You got the kids. This movie could do really well at the box office number 2, really well. So I hope it does. And Jim Carrey, of course, has a lot of weight with older audiences. A lot of parents would go and watch this because Jim Carrey's in it. So it's awesome that way. So Jim Carrey obviously has signed on for a trilogy, maybe even more. That's big for him. So that's all he seems to be doing right now is Sonic movies. He hasn't really done
I'm
much
not
the last
complaining.
while, but it's still good to see him in these. And I think he gets so much like improv time with these movies as well, because it's him. It's just him, and it's these little animated characters like tennis balls. It's just him with tennis balls on set, and he gets to just go with it and riff and do what he wants. Like the cool scene was the where Evil Grows song plays,
Yeah.
where he's in his lair or he's in his lab, and he's doing some experiments, and he starts to play his music, and he starts to dance with it and stuff like that. And that was a really cool sequence. But he that was all improv for him. That was all he said. Put on this on, and then he just did all that stuff. Like he's just a genius. And that was one of my favorite songs, or favorites. That's actually one of my favorite songs I have on my playlist right now, and one of my favorite scenes from the movie. So yeah, looking forward to this, and the universe is building.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to some fun stuff now. Finally, we get to these topics. Doctor Strange 2. All right. So, firstly, I would say that I absolutely loved this trailer. I think it's one of the best trailers Marvel ever did. Sam Raimi is directing, and this trailer shows that he is directing, and he has such a huge influence on this movie. It shows, and even in the trailer, they said from Sam Raimi, which they don't do a lot for the other directors. Chloe Zhao got that. I think James Gunn gets that, and I think the Russo brothers get that. But yeah, it was really awesome seeing this trailer because I did not expect this trailer to look like this. I had something completely different in mind, especially after watching No Way Home. But this trailer kind of surprised me, and it looks very interesting. I'm curious to see how much of the general audience is interested in this movie after seeing this trailer, because there seemed to be a lot of stuff that Marvel fans would love, but general audience might be confused about. So, but for me, it was awesome because I love this. I love that creature that's in the city. I love the multiverse stuff, obviously, and it looks darker than other movies, and this trailer didn't have a single joke in it. This movie has Wanda in it, two of them actually, and they have multiple Doctor Stranges as well. And obviously, the highlight of the trailer, which got people excited, was off camera, just a shoulder of somebody we recognize from some other franchise. So, what do you think of the trailer?
Trailer was awesome. It was so good. Probably one of the best MCU trailers we've gotten for
Yep.
movies. Like it's a story within its own right. And Sam Raimi, this is like if Zack Snyder returned to DC 15 years from now, this is what this is like. Sam Raimi, he's the guy who he created the three Spider-Man movies with Tobey. He never got his fourth one, but now he's back doing Doctor Strange. And this movie is very fitting for him, a multiverse movie, because he dropped the name Doctor Strange in his movies, which is awesome. He even dropped Shazam as well in the Spider-Man ones. So yeah, this is cool. This is really cool, and it looks there's such a great style to it. And of course, he's got a horror background with the Evil Dead movies. So like, this is supposed to be a horror movie. And I hope it goes into it hard. You know, there didn't seem to be much comedy in it. Of course, there will be because it's still a Marvel movie. We'll still have those laughs at times, but I don't know where you fit in the laughs with this that much because of how serious the story is, and especially like I don't see Wanda cracking too many jokes. You know what I mean? Because of her backstory and what's going on there and stuff. And it seems like a very serious story. So I don't see Doctor Strange having much humor either. There's one character that I could see humor coming from is America Chavez. It's a new character who's being introduced who can open up portals and stuff like this. She was
And
actually
maybe
supposed to
Wanda
be in Spider-Man.
by saying
Yeah,
super
yeah,
shit.
yeah, exactly. But this character, she was supposed to be in No Way Home opening the portals. She was supposed to bring Toby and Andrew back or as Spider-Man. But they changed it last minute because of
Oh yeah,
the
the
pandemic
concept
and
art
scheduling
was
stuff like
showing
that.
that, right?
Yeah, she was supposed to be in it, especially the third act as well. She was supposed to send them back to the world, but then they changed it to Ned because the Doctor Strange was coming out later now because of the pandemic and stuff like that. So her character might have some humor to it. But yeah, we got to see, and it looks like I think you're going to have to watch the What If Marvel series, you know, to understand some of the references in this movie, which is something that I probably wouldn't have thought of.
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't think that What If would be necessary watching, but it seems to be because Captain Carter was referenced in the poster. Haley Atwell could pop up as a live action Captain Carter. There was the What If Zombies, which was one of my favorite episodes. Doctor Strange Zombie, Wanda Zombie was shown. And there's other things like that. So we could see What If being canon to the MCU in such a big
Oh, I think
way.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I think if you've watched that show, you would get some stuff that happens in this one. But the big thing was like Patrick Stewart, Professor X, is in the MCU, and this is awesome because you know Patrick Stewart after Logan came out said that he was done as Charles Xavier, and Hugh Jackman said the same, but never say never in this industry. Hugh Jackman doesn't seem to want to come back because Logan was the great send off for his character. And in a way, I don't want him to come back, but in a way, I do because I don't think it would ruin the legacy because that was the X-Men Fox universe. This is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You know, this is a big thing. So I would love him to be in it. But Charles Xavier being in it is awesome. And just for people who don't know, in the comics, there's a team known as the Illuminati. And it's the world's strongest heroes, most powerful heroes. They form a council, and it dictates what happens in the world. They handle world matters. You know, if there's any threats coming to the planet and stuff like that. They also did this in the comics where they sent away Hulk because he was too destructive, and that's how the Planet Hulk storyline happened. So in the comics, they're not like good. They're not like the Avengers, like friendly guys and stuff like that. Like they're pretty ruthless, and it usually consists of Doctor Strange, Reed Richards, Black Bolt, Namor, Charles Xavier,
Iron
Man. So that's the team usually consists of. Now we get a shot of them sitting in there's 6 chairs in front of Doctor Strange, and it looks like that we will see the Illuminati. They said Illuminati, but we don't know who is it going to consist of. They could stay to the comics, be very comic accurate, or they could have different MCU variants be the 6. But there's rumors of John Krasinski showing up as Reed Richards. He could be one of them. There's also rumors of the original kind of actor that played the character in the early 2000s movie popping up. That would be pretty cool. I watched those movies in theaters and they came out.
I loved Silver
the
Surfer.
Namor character. My brother loves Ben Affleck's Daredevil and he loves the bad Fantastic Four movies. So he'll be the only one cheering if the original Reed Richards shows up. And yeah, he loves those movies. But Namor is showing up in Black Panther Wakanda Forever later this year. So that same actor might be in the Illuminati as well. In terms of Iron Man, there's strong reports it could be Tom Cruise, which is pretty insane. But he could be playing Superior Iron Man. This is an Iron Man that has 3 Infinity Stones. He also killed Thanos, has his head in a jar, stuff like that. I don't know if it's going to happen, but that would be pretty cool. It would be pretty cool to see that. And of course, I think Doctor Strange wouldn't be Joaquin Phoenix. It would just be an evil variant of Doctor Strange or a different variant of Doctor Strange. Black Bolt. There was rumors, or actually, it was confirmed that Vin Diesel was supposed to play the character in a movie, but it never happened. But there's also some rumors that the actor who played the character in the Inhumans show, which was terrible seemingly, and I never watched it.
It was.
He could pop up as a variant in this. So
I would love that because he actually carried the show. Whatever was
really?
whatever dignity of that show was left, that was because of him. Because granted, he didn't have lines, which kind of also makes it more difficult to him. For him, because he needs to just act throughout the entire show, and he did a very good job.
Is that the character who can't speak because if he does his the shockwaves, like he'll kill everybody because they're powerful. That's a cool.
He accidentally killed his son.
Oh, really?
That's why he never speaks.
Okay. It would be cool to see that. That would be cool for fans of that show who did like him in the role. You know, and Kevin Feige is cool that way.
Yeah.
You know, he'll get Kevin Feige. I think he's pretty awesome as a creator because he kind of listens to the fans in a way. And if he ends up bringing all these cameos in, that's pretty cool of him.
Yep.
You know, that is awesome. But I would love to see Tom Cruise as Iron Man to see how it looks. Might not happen. It could be different. It could be a different team than the comics. There's no way for sure that it'll be the source material. But Patrick Stewart is there as Charles Xavier, and that's awesome. And that confirms that the X-Men Fox universe, in some degree, is in the MCU now. And maybe we might even see the X-Men at some point as well. The original X-Men.
100%.
The first class. That would be awesome. That'd be cool. And I think Patrick Stewart's there. I do think Magneto will be in it, but I think it will be Michael Fassbender, not
I hope so,
Ian
dude.
McKellen.
He's my favorite of that franchise. So I hope he comes back.
Yeah, he kind of carried the bad movies for me.
Definitely.
He seemed to be on a different story from everyone else, a different kind of arc. Especially the scene where he loses his daughter and wife in the same scene. Like, that's pretty dark, and he just kills all those guys.
That was the best scene.
Yeah. Yeah, it was awesome. So I'm looking forward to this. The trailer was fantastic. I'm intrigued to see what cameos pop up because there will be a lot because it's called Multiverse of Madness. I do hope, because they did do reshoots recently, I think it would be cool if Toby was in it because of Sam Raimi. That kind of reunion there, that would be awesome. Why not? Could have shot. And I do think that Andrew Garfield could have been doing reshoots to be put into Morbius.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I just think they want these characters to pop up in more now because if word gets out that Toby or Andrew are in Morbius or in Doctor Strange 2, there's an extra 400 million at the box office.
Yep.
You know?
Absolutely.
So I think if one of them is in Morbius, I think they will leak it because nobody's going to. Well, not nobody, but that film isn't going to do well if they're in it and nobody knows. It's not going to do well like No Way Home. You know what I mean? They'll have to leak it that they're in it.
Yeah.
But this trailer was awesome. Fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what the chat is saying.
Winter Naomi says, I love the Multiverse of Madness trailer. WandaVision was one of my favorite MCU works in years. I love seeing Wanda again. Not well since Westview. Her blood-drenched face tells me she'll be bad, and that's awesome. Yeah, she seems to be the villain, and she'll probably kill somebody in this as well. I wonder who she'll kill. Maybe her dad, Michael Fassbender? Maybe Patrick Stewart? That would be interesting. Because I think there's a massive line in the comics.
No more mutants.
No more mutants? Does she kill the mutants? What happens there? It could be very intriguing. We have Brian there, Brian Scully in the chat. Lads, how is she cutting? That's an Irish saying. What's up, Brian? Rokan says, what I loved about what we've seen of Multiverse of Madness is the fact that it does feel like a Raimi film. It's got his directorial style, which we haven't gotten that vibe much from an MCU film. Yeah, it does, definitely. And I hope they didn't mess with him too much. And I don't think so. I don't think Kevin Feige would have brought in such a prestige director to mess with him.
Oh, there's no way.
Of course, it's
yeah.
And also, like, this new phase of the MCU isn't formula as much. It's been different. It's been intriguing at times. So Um, Newman says this might be the Phase 4 Civil War, which was a conclusion of many stories and leading to future movies. Multiverse of Madness will be the conclusion of Strange's story in No Way Home and WandaVision. Series 2 leading to X-Men and Fantastic Four. Oh, I think this movie will have ripple effects across the entire MCU.
Yeah.
I don't think this is just like Shang-Chi as a standalone movie or Eternals. I think this will just have ripple effects for the MCU shows and also the future movies that is coming, definitely. This isn't just a one and done type story.
And also recently Kevin Feige, I mean, I think just yesterday he said that there's Endgame was the final Avengers movie. He said that. So I know that there might be Avengers movies in the future, but him saying that is interesting because now we have all these new characters that need to be brought, and X-Men and Fantastic Four are like major movie franchises that will be built. So maybe the Avengers might have to take a backseat for a while. And I'm okay with that, since we don't have the OGs much around. So I'm okay with moving on to new teams now.
But X-Men is an Avengers type level movie if the characters are built up well. And Fantastic Four is the same. These are ensemble
Yep.
casts. Eternals for me was kind of like an
Yeah,
Avenger
we
type.
have Eternals too.
Yeah. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
All right, so let's move on to some DC stuff now, and let's start with Batgirl. So on Feb 16th, we got pictures of the new Michael Keaton Batsuit that is going to be either well, in both Batgirl and the Flash movie. So here are some pictures that we also see Gordon, a young Gordon with a different hair. So it's definitely a flashback. And we see Michael Keaton's Batman. So there are two discussions to be had here, but let's start with the suit. What do you think of the new suit?
Yeah, the suit is very different from the 1999 Batman and 1992 Batman Returns, which I would expect because we haven't seen Batman in a while. Keaton's Batman, so the suit, I would have been disappointed if it didn't evolve. And then there was some reports that this is the exact same suit that is in the Flash movies. Then 15, 20 years went by where he didn't change his suit again, which I don't kind of like. I wish he kind of evolved a little bit further. But yeah, they're the suit. People were saying that it looks very loose, but it's a stunt suit. Like it's not Michael Keaton in the suit. Like, so I don't mind that too much. But there's more emphasis on the chest and shoulders and the actual abs, and he looks bigger and he looks kind of more intimidating as well. And I was trying. I remember seeing a shot like this in a comic book, and I was trying to think what comic book was it, what artist was it. And I was kind of annoying myself because I couldn't think which one it was. And next minute, this is true story. The the comic book artist, Alex Ross, followed me on Twitter.
Yeah.
And I was like, Alex Ross. And that's pretty, like, that's why is he following me? And I went into his profile, and his cover photo, his banner on Twitter, is the shot that I was thinking about. So that's weird how that happened.
Yeah.
So basically, if people want to look it up, it's the Alex Ross. Just look up Alex Ross kind of Batman, the way he designs it, and it looks very kind of similar to. I don't know if you can see this now, but it looks very similar to what we're seeing kind of in the. Can you see that? No.
No, there's too much light.
Okay, sorry. If I can send it to you, you might be able to pull it up. But it reminds me a little bit of that. The kind of ears are kind of pointy, and he looks big around his shoulders and stuff like that. So I think the suit looked pretty well. It doesn't look like Batfleck or anything. I know many people don't like Keaton returning and stuff like that, but in terms of the suit, it looks intimidating.
And also it's the stunt suit, but it's also without the cinematography and color grading, editing, and all that. But just from a set suit perspective, I think it looks still pretty cool, and I think it'll look even better in the movie, obviously, because of the editing and all that. It looks more modern.
Yeah. It's gonna, and like it's kind of cool to see these set photos those, and the suit doesn't look terrible to me. Like the final product will look a lot better than it does. Like, that's the worst the suit will ever look
Yeah.
is on the set. You know, yeah. So I think it looks fine. To be honest with you, maybe that's me just being optimistic, but I don't think there's any problem with it.
Yeah, I agree. But also, let's talk about the second thing that we see J.K. Simmons, Jim Gordon with Michael Keaton's Batman in a flashback scene. So, especially since this is a flashback, and I've been seeing that a lot of people are getting confused as to why this is happening, and they are getting upset that this is basically rewriting all of Batfleck's history in the DCEU, which we never saw in the first place. But I'm just saying that it's kind of rewriting that. And I understand why some people might be frustrated with that, and I get it. But I also think that this is kind of good for the DCU going forward, to separate itself from the Snyderverse, because in that way, both directions can coexist without having to adhere to each other's storytelling, or each other's limitations with the stories. So we all know for years and years WB didn't want the Nightmare stuff from Zack Snyder, but Zack Snyder definitely wants that. That is his story, and he'll be done after the Nightmare story. So he has nothing more to say other than that. And WB doesn't want the Nightmare stuff. So clearly they're not going to work together, right? And the best situation for this was the introduction of Multiverse in 2020, when at the Fandom they announced that they were going to do the multiverse and stuff, right? So that got a lot of people excited. Ezra Miller's cameo on the CW got a lot of people excited, because that meant that DC introducing multiverse would mean that they are carrying both directions together. Like Zack Snyder's universe was going to continue, and the DCU would also continue. So, but after that, Toby Emmerich took over. He canceled the Snyderverse, and he just wanted the DCEU to exist. And there's no Snyderverse stuff going to happen, at least for now, until the merger that's coming a few months later. But even then, we don't have a guarantee. So let's see what happens then. But with that groundwork said, I think, look, this is not confusing at all. When you have a new timeline after the Flash movie, that new timeline will have some changes which also would be in the past. So the new timeline does also have a past which we didn't see, and this is basically that past. So this is the past of the new timeline, where J.K. Simmons is Gordon and Michael Keaton's Batman. So yeah, I think differentiating it like this is kind of messy. It's confusing for a lot of people, but I think it's a good thing eventually for both universes to exist. But what do you think of this whole situation going on with WB?
Yeah, well, Brian in the chat is giving me shit for liking the Keaton suit. it's not, it, it's not Batfleck, and yeah, but look, I don't know. I think whatever happens in the Flash, it sets up a new timeline, of course, and then like there's a new timeline, and Michael Keaton. I think a few characters remember what happened in the past and stuff like that. Like the Flash will be one of them. Kind of reminds me of Wolverine at the end of Days of Future Past. He remembers all the previous movies and what happened, and he has that as his past. But the other characters that are around him have a different kind of variation of that past as well, because there's a new timeline that's been created. But like J.K. Simmons as Jim Gordon, he could be playing, as Rokan said, playing a version of the Jim Gordon from the Burton era. He could be the new Gordon in this new timeline. Like Batman 89 still happened, Batman Returns still happened, but it was Jim Gordon, J.K. Simmons. And then the new timeline is what we're seeing now in Batgirl and stuff like that, So it's hard to kind of know what exactly is happening. I don't have the answers. Hopefully they showcase it in a very understandable way when watching the movies. But yeah, there is a new timeline, and for me, it doesn't. I don't really care anymore about the discussion about erasing the Snyderverse
Yeah,
because it doesn't matter what happens. Like it honestly doesn't, because the multiverse and these movies, like they're movies. It doesn't have to. It's not affecting our world. Like Warner Brothers could come out and say that Zack Snyder is doing Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 on HBO Max, and that comes out, and Aquaman, just for example, could die,
yeah,
but we still get Aquaman 3 in theaters. Like one doesn't affect the other.
exactly.
It really doesn't. So I don't really. I'm just gonna watch each movie and each show as it comes, and just watch it for what it is,
Yep.
And uh, anything can happen. It's for God's sake. Wolverine Origins came out. It was terrible, and they still had no Wolverine. They still had Logan. Logan was still possible. Like the X-Men franchise was all over the place in terms of continuity and what was happening with the movies, but they still came out and movies happened. Deadpool happened, after Origins. So it's not that deep. It's just a movie business. Movies can be made. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck can come back and do Dark Knight Returns with Zack Snyder in 10 years from now, and it doesn't have to affect anything. It's just they're movies. But it's cool to see J.K. Simmons there. I'm glad, because he was a Zack Snyder casting. He's back, but he's in a new timeline right now, and on Earth 1 or whatever, he was Batfleck's Jim Gordon, but now in this new timeline, he's Michael Keaton's one. So okay, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
It's nothing too crazy. Not too crazy. There's just this new timeline right now. My question would be: does Wonder Woman, does Aquaman, did they remember Batman v Superman? Did they remember
I don't think so.
Justice League? Did they remember stuff like that?
Post Flash, I don't think they'll remember.
Yeah, Flash maybe, and Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton remembers his world, and Flash remembers his world. I don't know. Does Michael Keaton remember, like, who was his Jim Gordon when '89 happened and Returns happened? Stuff like that. So, and then, like, who is the DCU Joe? Like, is Michael Keaton pulled into the main DCU, or is Flash pulled into and all those other characters pulled into the Burton verse? That's the kind of question I have as well, because is Jack Nicholson the DCU Joker now, or is Jared Leto still the DCU Joker? So there's a few questions about it. We'll have to see. I think Grace Randolph was saying that Michael Keaton is pulled into the main DCEU, which then it technically is kind of getting rid of Batman v Superman, because it never happened. Maybe it happened in a different kind of way. You just don't know. But I'm not going to wreck my head over it, because I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get too annoyed. Winter Naomi Vera says the nightmare timeline was going to be prevented at the end of Zack Snyder's Justice League 3, with Superman leading the world's heroes, including its citizens, to victory against Darkseid. It doesn't affect continuity at all. Exactly. Like, down the line, like, Warner Brothers could come to Zack Snyder and say, Zack, can you come and do, like, the nightmare timeline? And he does it, and, like, it resets everything, and like, the past is different. Like, there's movies. Anything can happen. It's just
even Zack Snyder's Justice League is a different timeline than PVS.
Yeah. It's crazy the way it all works and stuff like that. But that's the beauty about the nightmare timelines. You could say, oh, Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and Zack Snyder's Justice League are timeline 1, and then Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 or this other timeline, and then it changed because of what happened in Zack Snyder's Justice League 1, time travel and all that kind of stuff. You can play around it. It's not that deep. It's a movie, and I think if a movie is good and enjoyable and it's not too complicated, then it can work,
Yeah, I agree. All right, so let's move on to the DC Heroes Superbowl trailer, which a lot of people liked, actually, and it's interesting because it showed a bunch of new clips from Black Adam, as well as one new shot of the Flash, which is actually my favorite shot of the whole trailer. And there's a bunch of new Black Adam stuff, because that movie is coming out right after the Batman, so that's the next movie that's coming out, and after that it's the Flash, obviously. But there's a couple of shots from Aquaman as well, nothing from Shazam, which is understandable. That movie is currently in post-production, which will come out like 1.5 years later from now. I don't know why there's so much of a delay, but it is what it is. But yeah, what did you think of the Black Adam stuff, the new Aquaman suit? That looks pretty good. And the new Flash suit.
Yeah. The 1 minute spot I thought was really well put together. And actually, for somebody who is just kind of watching these movies as they come, kind of made me excited. The Batman's coming out in 3 weeks. We'll obviously watch that. But Black Adam looks really good. The color grading looks different from any other DC movie we've seen. The suits really pop. Black Adam, you've got Dr. Fate, you've got Hawkman, you've got Cyclone, Atom Smasher. They all really stand out. And the movie kind of just looks kind of very very interesting what they're going for. It it looks like it doesn't look like it's practical in terms. There wasn't any like scenery shots. It was kind of. It looked like it was like in the city. There's a big battle going on and stuff like that. Of course, a lot of this movie was filmed inside of a studio, so it is going to look like that in terms of. But it's not going to be. It's not going to be like. You're not going to watch it and say this was shot in the studio. All movies are shot in a studio to a degree, but it doesn't seem like it has that kind of natural element to it, like say Eternals did, because a lot of that was on location. But this is going to be a big movie, and I'm very fascinated how the JSA are being incorporated into Black Adam solo movie. That's a big thing to do. This is like a Justice League type movie in a Black Adam movie, and it's cool of The Rock to do this instead of just having all of the movie just about him and his character. He's actually elevating unknown DC characters along with his unknown DC characters. That's pretty cool. And Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate is perfect cast. That's going to be awesome to see. The Atom Smasher shot was pretty striking. Giant running through the city. Hawkman looks cool. And it looks like they changed a little bit of the origin of Black Adam as well, saying that his son died and this is what his motivation is. And this is probably a way for him to be an anti-hero and for fans to get on his side, or for audiences. Oh, is he really that bad? Well, his son died. That's why he acts this way. So I think near the end, he could be fighting the JSA. I think maybe he has a different intention to all of them. Maybe that's what leads to maybe the battle with Shazam and Superman down the line and the way that's going. But that was a pretty cool shot. That's coming out in July after the Batman. That's the next DCEU project. So that's going to be exciting. The Flash shot was some shots we've already seen before. The shot of the suit. I need to see the suit all together, but I did like the lenses coming out. It's a nice addition.
Mm-hmm.
Big time. So that was cool. Aquaman on top of sitting on the throne. Nice shot. I didn't like the shot of him in the stealth suit. Is that what it's called? Because it looked very fake to me. It looked like that was on a set. Just that I don't know if that's just a shot for promotion or that's a shot from the actual movie. But it looks very. It looks like it was shot on a set to me. And I think they used some of the Mandalorian technology on that movie as well, some of the volume. So I wonder how that's going to pop and how different that could be from the first Aquaman. But I didn't like that shot because it just looked too fake to me. But the Batman shots, we've already seen enough of the Batman. We're already excited for that. So I thought it was a good 1 minute teaser and got me kind of excited for the future projects that's coming. So did you have a shot that you really? There's also some of the shots kind of that struck me of the Black Adam was The Rock's acting. He seems to be kind of really going for it this time.
Mm-hmm.
There's a shot of him with some tears in his eyes and.
Hawkman was also
his suit
good.
really, but the Black Adam suit really pops as well. I think so.
They're definitely following the Man of Steel suit template. So pretty good.
Like I haven't watched Jungle Cruise.
Me neither.
And isn't the director from Jungle Cruise directing Black Adam? Isn't that what's happening here?
I'm not sure. No, I don't think it's him. I think it's one of the movies that one of the other movies that Rock was in, and I think it's also one of the movies that one of the Liam Neeson movies that he directed. I think. So yeah.
No. He directed. It was Jungle Cruise. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, he directed. I haven't directed Jungle Cruise, so hopefully, like, it's not. But there hasn't been too much comedy though in what we've seen from Black Adam yet. Mm-hmm. So I hope it is taking itself seriously because it's a serious story. The Rock's Black Adam was held prisoner, and he's been that way for thousands of years. And his son died, so there is a pretty dark story to be told there. So hopefully it doesn't try to be too much of a family-friendly comedy, but it will be popcorn-driven because it's a Rock movie. And I hope he tries something different as well. I hope he's not just playing a generic Rock character.
Yeah, I think the younger cast of the JSA will be kind of funny, especially Atom Smasher. I think he will be, and even Dr. Fate, I think will be kind of like sarcastic humor, like how Doctor Strange is. Plus he's Pierce Brosnan, so Yeah, I'm I'm looking forward to it, and I loved the Flash suit more. I thought that was the best look of the Flash yet. Um, because the suit is very hard to nail, especially after what we saw in Zack Snyder's Justice League and Peacemaker. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. But
Yeah.
yeah, like you, I really want to see the full look at the actual costume, not the CGI one that we see in the Batcave. Um, but yeah,
The Snyder suit was very rough as well. You know, it wasn't clean. It looked
yep,
rough, and but I did like it. But I just need to see this new one in action.
yeah,
Looks very shiny at times as well, and maybe, but it could look cool in full motion. But we'll just have to see, I suppose. And there's going to be some changes with the Flash as well, because aren't they changing the lightning from blue to
yeah,
yellow? That's one of the. Uh, I think that they did say they're going to explain that in the movie, which is interesting why it's changed. Um. So yeah, there's a lot of question marks around the Flash movie. The scooper there, my time to shine. Hello said that Batfleck dies in the movie. I don't know if that's a spoiler or not. This is a scooper, but yeah, but
that has been a rumor
it's
for
hard
a
to
long,
know.
long while though.
Yeah, it does kind of make sense if he definitely wants to be done.
Yep.
But then again, if he does die, he can still come back. It's just like it's movies. That Patrick Stewart died in Logan, and he's coming back for. He actually died in X Men: The Last
Yeah.
Stand. Came back for the Wolverine. Died in Logan. He's back for Multiverse of Madness. You know, a character dies. It doesn't mean anything.
Yep. That's true. But yeah, speaking of the Flash, let's talk about the Peacemaker finale. Okay, so I shouldn't set it up like that, but since since this was the highlight of that episode, I'll have to do that. But yeah, okay, so let's talk about the finale first of all. I thought the show was really good, really well made, really well written, and the performances of the cast was also pretty good. At first, I was not gonna watch it, although Peacemaker was my favorite character from the Suicide Squad, and he had the best scene in the movie. That was the trailers and the marketing and stuff didn't get me interested, and I was probably gonna skip this show if I hadn't heard good things about it and stuff, right? So either way, I just thought since they decided to release three episodes at once, I decided to give it a shot, and I didn't like the first episode that much. It took me some time to get into it, but by the end of the third episode, I was totally into it, and I liked what I was seeing. The characters building up and stuff was pretty good, and the world building also was pretty amazing because this feels like a proper DCEU movie, not just some standalone stuff, you know? And you know, we always like that more when there are actual shared cinematic universe stuff happening within shared cinematic universe movie or show. And I really appreciated that, and I thought that was very interesting that every single episode has something of that sort in um in either dialogue or some posters or some behind the scenes stuff. So yeah, overall the story was pretty good, the acting was pretty good, the characters were amazing, the chemistry was pretty good, the writing was also pretty good, and I am actually really looking forward to season 2, which has been greenlit thanks to HBO Max and James Gunn and all that. But the second season, every single episode is going to be written and directed by James Gunn, so that's going to be interesting. So I'm really looking forward to that. But let's talk about the actual cameo. So I don't know if anyone from our audience right now hasn't seen it yet, but I'm pretty sure everyone has seen the cameo on Twitter at least. But yeah, um, the Justice League had a cameo in the finale. So I've seen some people really hate that, thinking that it was cringe and stuff, but most of those people are just people who saw the scene out of context. They didn't see the whole show, They don't know what's going on. They don't know why they showed up, and they don't know the meaning of the dialogue that was in the scene, um, and stuff like that. So I can see why people are hating it because of that, but that's totally unfair, I feel. But yeah, apart from that, I loved the cameo. Me, and we both had a lot of discussion on this show as well about our frustrations with the DCU not having the actual actors doing the cameos in the other movies. When they look, it's one thing to not have a cameo at all. Like Wonder Woman 84 didn't have any cameo, right? And that was fine. But if you are making an effort to bring in a cameo, don't do Headless Superman, don't do some random non Jared Leto Joker in a background when you clearly see his face is not Jared Leto. Just don't do that stuff, right? So I actually really really hate that, especially when the MCU keeps giving us everything that the fans want, and they keep, even for the smallest of things, they keep bringing the actual actors for the cameos. That's the way to do a cinematic universe. That's how it works. So I was really pissed at the DCU not doing that and stuff. But finally, after years, after like 2016 was the last time when we had that in Suicide Squad, when obviously Flash and Batman showed up, right? And we can say kind
Years,
of that the 2017.
years, so annoying. Like
Yeah,
6 years it took for a
six
proper cameo.
years, yeah, dude. But yeah, we can say that kind of Wonder Woman also did that by having Ben Affleck's voiceover and stuff. It was kind of that, but he didn't actually show up. But I still appreciate that they kept it intact. But yeah, regardless of that, from then to now, this is the first time we had an actual cameo of a main Justice League member on a TV show. That's pretty huge. And Jason Momoa and Ezra Miller both showed up. And we even had Superman and Wonder Woman, but we didn't have Henry Cavill and Gal Gadot for reasons we already know. And apparently, there was gonna be Batman and Cyborg, and James Gunn actually filmed it. So, but
Yeah,
Warner Brothers just decided to remove them because. So the reason there was that James Gunn actually had these characters written in the script, but and he submitted those scripts to Warner Brothers, and they agreed to the scripts. So James Gunn went and shot the scene with Batman and Cyborg, and then Warner Brothers saw the scene after shooting it and finishing it, and they said no, take him out. If you,
that's why there's such a big gap in
yeah,
space between the characters there.
yeah, there is, but I still appreciated. Look, even without those two, I still appreciated the scene a lot because this is something that I've been wanting to see for such a long time, and finally we got to see that, and I'm really excited to see that. And it's also perfectly done because it's not like they came in and saved the day, which would have been cool to see but not actually good for the show or for the characters. This show was mainly a Peacemaker show, and even in that scene it was Peacemaker who had the upper hand. So he was basically walking through them and just saying fuck off and all that, because they were late. And I understand the reasons for them being late, but really liked why they were late, and why he just got pissed off at them because they were late. That was really cool. But yeah, I really love the cameo. I think this actually sets a precedent for the future DCU movies and shows to, be like this or even better. But you cannot go back to faceless Superman or other person Jared Leto Joker. You just cannot. So this was a very good step in that a good direction, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, the Peacemaker season as a whole for me had a strong opening, middle, and ending, and I love this show. The week to week discussion was fantastic. I thought John Cena he's elevated as an actor under James Gunn for me on the dramatic side of things. As I've said countless times, my favorite scene from the Suicide Squad is when he kills Rick Flag in that scene of Peacemaker. What a joke! And James Gunn was able to craft and create a series based on that piece of dialogue, and he did it masterfully. And it's the most talked about show in the world. It's being watched. Season 2 is coming tonight. This show altogether was just fantastic, and it drops things in episode 1 and episode 2. And they're not, people talk about James Gunn's humor and like he's just his style and stuff. He drops jokes in episode 1 and episode 2 that have payoff in the season finale, and you realize, oh, that wasn't just a cheap gag. That actually was setting up this entire arc for this specific character. You know, you had John Economos' character, Diebeard. That joke is set up in the early episodes. And then we get to see in episode 8, it's actually a big thing for him. And there's a big dramatic moment over that joke. That's brilliant writing right there. And then the Aquaman joke was in the opening scene of episode 1 about him and Fish and that rumor. And it comes full circle in episode 8. And the action was fantastic. I think even some of Zack Snyder's crew, stunt choreographers worked on the move on the show.
Yeah.
And in the last episode, that action sequence was fantastic with the intro music over it. So the entire series for me was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. And cannot wait for season 2. And I thought it was brilliant. And look, many fans they've shit on James Gunn since he came to DC. There's a number of reasons for it. One of them is because he's a Marvel director. Another one is they use his old tweets as an argument against him. And then they use his humor and his directing style as another thing as well. You know, but I think there is a strong...
And they're also mad
like
that
Gunn,
he's kind of the replacement director.
And he's getting creative freedom. Like, they're saying, oh, James Gunn is getting the creative freedom. What makes him so special than Zack Snyder, when Zack Snyder and David Ayer never got it? But I think this latest news proves that he doesn't get the full creative freedom that you might think, and that the Warner Bros. Executives are the only ones to blame. I've watched Shazam, Birds of Prey, The Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman 84, and I've liked those movies for what they are. Of course, they're not Man of Steel or Batman v Superman or Zack Snyder's Justice League. But if I went into those movies thinking, oh, I'm so angry right now, I wouldn't enjoy anything. So I go watch those movies and I try to enjoy them for what they are. But I have disagreements, I have criticisms. In Shazam was the headless cameo. I did not like it. I liked the movie. It was good. Didn't like that. Birds of Prey, I liked it for what it was. Should have had more Black Mask, maybe a little bit longer. And it should have been Jared actually popping up. You know, so I have problems and criticisms, but I can still enjoy those movies and like them for what they are, not for what they're not. But I will never blame Catty Yen or David Sandberg or Andy Muschietti or these guys, because the Warner Brothers executives are the ones to blame for everything. It's not James Gunn's fault that he couldn't use the entire Justice League with all of the actors. It's the studio's fault. It's not David Sandberg's fault that Henry Cavill didn't pop up or Catty Yen because Jared Leto didn't pop up. Maybe they should have cut those scenes entirely.
Yeah.
You know, they're trying to connect this universe. But the DC universe is a sandbox. And James Gunn should be able to avail of this entire sandbox and use whatever character actor he wants to set up his universe and connect it all together. The MCU has the Marvel sandbox, it has the Fox X-Men, it has the Sony Spider-Man universe, and Kevin Feige can touch each sandbox and pick what he wants. And that's what he's doing right now for Doctor Strange 2 and Spider-Man No Way Home. He can choose and pick what he wants. James Gunn can't, and that's not his fault. If he really wanted to have the Justice League there, he wanted the Justice League. If he wanted each actor, he should have been able to have each actor there. But Warner Brothers have tarnished their relationships with Henry Cavill, with Ben Affleck, with Jared Leto, with Ray Fisher, with their talent, with their directors, Zack Snyder, David Ayer. Even Patty Jenkins went through a cut of her movie. The ending of Wonder Woman was changed. This has been happening for years, so I don't blame the creators at Warner Brothers at all. I blame the creatives, the executives, and the suits. I don't blame the directors or the writers. James Gunn was trying to make that scene as cool as possible.
This was literally a reward for fans because he didn't have to bring in Justice League in an unrelated Peacemaker show. There's no relation with the Justice League at all.
And he could have been sour as well at the abuse he gets online.
Exactly.
And said, I'm not going to use the Justice League, or I'm not going to connect this in any way. But he could his sandbox was available to him, and he was only able to use 2 actors of 6 members of the Justice League. He was only able to use 4 characters of 6 of the Justice League. And he tried to make that as cool as possible with 2 silhouettes and 2 actors. And I think it was pretty cool. I jumped off my seat when they all appeared. I thought it was really cool how it was done. The shot is amazing. And people are saying, "Oh, it's just JL-17." And
They don't understand that movie if they say that.
I was watching Dave's channel, Film Junkie. I think Stephen Colbert said this, that many fans are using the excuse of stuff that they don't like, that it's Josh Whedon, esque. Whatever they don't like, it's JL-17.
Yeah.
I don't like that, it's JL-17. Well, that's not Zack Snyder, well, it's JL-17. I'm seeing a big trend of this with every single DC project. You cannot like Peacemaker, that's fine, or James Gunn, that's fine. I have no problem with that. But have a substantial argument as why you don't like it and why you think it's poor. And that's okay. I've seen some good arguments out there why they don't like it. And that's fair. And I've seen people say, I don't like it, it's not for me, but I'm glad people are enjoying it. I prefer Zack Snyder's world. I don't really like this new thing. That's okay. But to use these arguments that it's JL-17 and Joss Whedon-esque, that shot where the Justice League appear in that scene, it's more Zack Snyder-esque than it is Joss Whedon.
The colors too. Like, there's not one shot like this in the entire Justice League movie.
Yeah. And the Aquaman suit that we got to see in Aquaman the movie, and Jeff Johns was a big writer on that movie and a big input. The Aquaman shot in Peacemaker, I would argue, was a better shot than the entire shot of that suit in Under One, and the color grading they used there and stuff, and the humor. And I think it hits a little bit harder in this, and I think that scene is it's fantastic for what it is. Now the scene isn't perfect. Perfect is all 6 members of the Justice League with the actors. That's perfect. But that's not James Gunn's fault. That's the executive's fault. And James Gunn's trying to make this as cool as possible for everybody. And I think he did a pretty good job. Maybe he could have just had the 2 actors there and not include Wonder Woman. But the thing is, if he had just had Ezra and Jason, people would be going crazy saying, the haters would be saying, why isn't the entire Justice League there?
It wouldn't feel like Justice League if there's no Superman. It's just as simple as that.
And like, if they're complaining that there's no Cyborg and Batman. Well, James Gunn excluded Batman and Cyborg because of what's going on with Ray Fisher and Warner Brothers. He shot the scene, and Warner Brothers made him take it out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think there's a bias against Zack Snyder big time, and people like to ignore that Zack Snyder and James Gunn are friends. People like to ignore that Zack Snyder cast Ezra Miller and Jason Momoa. They decided and wanted to do this scene with James Gunn. And Zack Snyder's crew, some of his crew worked on this show as well, and they're working on the Flash movie.
And all this stuff isn't our theory or our speculation. There's an interview out with James Gunn where all this is, stated. So,
yeah. So I think there's a big bias against James Gunn from people who love Zack Snyder die hard, and I love Zack Snyder as well. We all do. This is not. We want the 6 members of the Justice League. We want everyone there, but it's not James Gunn's fault. It's not our fault. It's the executives of Warner Brothers who have tarnished the relationships and the reason why they can't all appear.
Yeah.
And you have these creators trying to do something cool. Was James Gunn trying to restore the Snyderverse in a way? Why was he trying to respect what Zack Snyder laid out?
This is the first time Justice League was used.
It's more respectful than it was in 2017 because they're poorly shot, poorly written, poorly presented. Batman, Superman, all of it was just terrible. Here, this shot is actually better than the entire Justice League 17 movie. And it's not even the real actors in the scene. There's silhouettes of Wonder Woman and Superman.
Yeah.
And they're better presented. So people just hate James Gunn. They like to bring up his tweets as an argument as well. And when you're talking about the current DCEU, if you like Peacemaker, if you like Shazam, they talk about, what about Ray Fisher? You don't stand by Ray Fisher. Ray Fisher never told anybody not to watch any DC movie. He never told people to boycott. He never told people not to like it. The thing is, it's not the executives that is working every single day in this movie. They're not acting in this movie. They're not the reason. The actors and the crew are not the reason the relationship between Ray Fisher and Warner Brothers is the way that it is, and the way that Warner Brothers have handled him. It's not their fault. So why should we hold the entire cast and crew of the Flash movie accountable for something that rich guys in a suit are dictating from an office? I just don't understand it.
Yeah, it's weird.
And I faced a lot of shit online as well about all of it. And
No.
you know what? I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I watched Peacemaker. I enjoyed it. I loved it, and I can't wait for season 2. And the thing is, Peacemaker was a hit, and it was a big thing. And the Justice League appeared. I thought it was pretty cool for what it was. Not
I saw
perfect,
some of the
but
reactions
pretty cool.
online about this cameo, like out of our circles. Like on YouTube, there, you know how people watch the entire episodes and stuff, the watch alongs. And there was one video where they put together, you know how they put a compilation of other reactors on a particular scene. The last time I saw that was Luke showing up in Mandalorian, but this was for the Justice League, right? So everyone was so happy, and I've never seen these people in my life. I don't know who these people are.
No,
They have backgrounds
I,
of
I,
Marvel toys and
yeah,
stuff, and they're so happy seeing these
yeah,
characters.
because it's cool.
Yeah.
I showed my brother this as well, and like he's not a massive movie fan or anything. And I said, sit down and watch this. What do you think? So I press play, and Aquaman's walking, holding Hardcore, and next minute the Justice League appear, and he's like, "Holy shit, that's so cool!"
Yeah.
Like he even found it cool, you know. And he was like, I was like, "What do you think about the actors not showing up?" He says, "Well, it was still cool to see the actor who plays Aquaman and Flash
Yeah.
interact. That was funny."
Yeah.
And then, like, that's what made the difference. Is the actual actors popped up,
Yeah.
you know, and Shazam and Birds of Prey didn't have that, and that's what's been missing. But to see the actors actually pop up and the way it was shot, it was presented really well, and the interaction was cool. And the joke about, okay, I understand if you don't like the jokes that James Gunn has and stuff like that, but it actually suits the character of Peacemaker. If this series was about Bloodsport,
That joke wouldn't be there. Yeah.
that joke wouldn't be there. Bloodsport, say, walking with Hardcore, it would have been a different
Yeah.
interaction. You know, it wouldn't have been that. It's just Peacemaker is this vulnerable character that's messed up. He reads everything on the internet. He listens to
He
rumors.
is
It's who
immature.
he is. He's immature, and he hears this rumor and he believes it. And he's actually pissed off with Aquaman and the Justice League because the girl he likes, Harcourt, is badly injured. They were supposed to show up and help them because that was dropped earlier in the episode when Harcourt goes to Adebayo. Can you tell your mother to bring somebody to help us? And she rings Amanda Waller and she's like, can you get somebody like the Justice League to show up and help us? That was
That
dropped.
was in the
But they
morning,
actually wanted,
and this is in the evening, and
they
they didn't
wanted
show,
over the Justice League.
and they didn't show
But
up.
like, no, but it was dropped that they needed help.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they needed actual help for this. And John Cena's Peacemaker was pissed off that they showed up late, and that was his way of getting at Aquaman. The same way as he got at John Economics' character about his dyed beard earlier in the season. He brings up the rumor, the insecurity that Aquaman might have about this rumor about him fucking fish, and then like that was the way it was presented. Was what was presented in episode 1. If you watch the show, but I understand if you don't like the humor, that's okay. I understand that if you have a problem with the humor, but then Ezra Miller responding to it saying, "Is it a rumor though?" You know, that was funny because that's just like a back and forth thing between
Yeah.
friends, and people are saying, "Oh my God, James Gunn made a canon that Aquaman fucks fish," and I'm like, did the Joker make a canon that he jacks off Batman from behind? No, I don't. And then James Gunn even had to come out on the YouTube channel on the HBO Max podcast saying that this isn't canon, guys. It's just a joke because Peacemaker believed everything on the internet.
Yeah. He listed all the things that, people would be mad about, like the Wonder Woman thing, the Flash thing, the Green Arrow thing, the Aquaman thing, and he listed all of them and said it's obviously not happening. It's not canon. But he doesn't have to say that. It's obvious. But people don't see the show, right? They just see hate clips on Twitter and react based on that. But another thing that I want to talk about, which kind of is our next topic, but it's similar to this topic, which is Superman showing up in this scene, right? And obviously it links to Batman as well as Cyborg. So let's get the first obvious thing out of the way. Cyborg. I don't think that Cyborg was gonna be in the episode whatsoever, even if he's filmed or whatever. I don't think Ray Fisher's Cyborg was gonna be here because he already said that he was not gonna work with, the current president, and there's no way he's showing up. So that's out of the question. Now, Ben Affleck's Batman was also shot, but it wasn't Ben Affleck, obviously, because he already gave his exit performance in The Flash. He's not gonna appear in more movies. So I think because of that reason, not to confuse the messaging, I think they removed Batman from this scene. Because if he did this cameo, people would be like, oh, maybe he could come back in future appearances, right? So maybe that's the reason for Ben Affleck. But Superman, now this is one thing that when I saw the scene, this literally jumped out to me, and I thought more people would be excited by this. And
People ignored it,
yeah,
man. People just like they didn't even talk
yeah,
about it. I'm like, that's Henry Cavill.
it's Henry Cavill Superman, and for so many years, a lot of people were questioning whether he'll be showing up. Is he going to be replaced by Supergirl, which is a stupid notion? Is he, not showing up in new movies in the DCU? Is he not getting his own movie? What's happening with him, right? And he's constantly in interviews mentioning that he's interested to do his own movie. So obviously, they are still in talks, negotiating. But unlike the Batman situation and the Cyborg situation, he is in the scene, and the likeness is of Henry Cavill. So that means the DCU clearly has Superman and wants to do more Superman. And the Justice League team has Superman, right? So obviously it's Henry Cavill. By the looks of it, it's his suit, it's his face cut, it's his hairstyle. He's Henry Cavill Superman.
And the body double was like
Yes.
Henry Cavill.
And to show that, here's the image of the body doubles, all three of them. There's Henry Cavill Superman
I
suit. There's Gal Gadot's
yeah.
Wonder Woman, Justice League and Batman v Superman suit, and the Batfleck Justice League suit.
Created by Zack Snyder.
All three of them canon to the continuity that's happening on the DCU timeline, which is Justice League or Zack Snyder Justice League, and then Aquaman movie, so he has that suit, and this is
which makes sense.
Yes,
his movie made it better.
Yes, yeah. And there's Batman's tactical suit, not the BVS suit. Look, now if James Gunn just wanted Batman in there, he could have just give me his random, Batfleck BVS suit. That's the best one, right? Let's get that. King. But he didn't do that.
Give me a king.
Yeah, he didn't do that. He actually wanted this to be to exist after Justice League. So
this was wasn't this shot in
May last year
of 2021?
Yes. After Zack Snyder's Justice League, yeah.
Understand.
So continuity wise, it's after Justice League and before the Flash movie, because we know that in the Flash movie he gets a new suit, right? So Aquaman has a new suit from his movie, but Flash doesn't have his new suit because his movie didn't happen yet. So it's in between Flash movie and Justice League, clearly. And this is the proof. They posted on Instagram, these are the body doubles for them. Okay, so keeping that in mind, what do you think is the future of the Justice League and Superman in the DCU? Because we already talked about that before, but we were uncertain about Superman.
Yeah, we've talked about here on the channel as well what the new Justice League might consist of, and I've done countless videos on my own channel about it too, in terms of what I think the new Justice League is. And I still think they could have had Cyborg and Batman in this. I don't think it would have confused things. I don't think it would have upset things too much. I just think maybe they didn't have Ray Fisher in there because of what's happening, like his character in there.
That's another thing, because if they just remove him, it would have looked bad.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then Ben Affleck is retiring later this year, and also maybe because they want to showcase Robin Pattinson as the new kind of younger Batman, and Michael Keaton is going to be the new DCU Batman. So maybe that's why they didn't want Ben Affleck in there. Or maybe, I don't know how it works. Would they have to pay Ben Affleck using his likeness? I don't know what way it works, that kind of way. So maybe, because the only guaranteed members of the Justice League that have contracts is Ezra Miller, because he has a future movie and they hope that's going to be a trilogy. Aquaman, Jason Momoa, because his movie made $1 billion. And Wonder Woman, because she's very successful, of course. She's one of the main female heroes in the world right now, live action wise. So she isn't going on.
Both of them have their movies as well. Like Aquaman 2 is getting made, Wonder Woman 3 is also getting made.
Yeah. So I wasn't surprised they showed up, those three characters, if they were showing up, because those actors are guaranteed for future projects. Ben Affleck isn't, he's retiring, and Ray Fisher, of course, is at war with DC and standing off with them and Warner Bros. And Walter Hamada. So it's no surprise that them two weren't included, with Henry Cavill included, that showed me that they have interest in bringing him back for future projects. And for the Flash movie, I think he could be in it. I think there will be hints and I've been predicting there will be hints and references towards Henry Cavill Superman and Black Adam. In Shazam 2, maybe he could pop up. I don't know. That movie's still a long time away, so they could shoot cameos for that, for Black Adam and Superman, which would help that movie big time. But I think this shows that Henry Cavill isn't done as Superman at all. I think they actually want him for the future of the DCU.
Because the
I still
absence of
think that
Batfleck could be due to confusion, the presence of Superman means that he's confirmed to be there.
yeah. So I think my theory still stands, and I think the new Justice League. So my new Justice League was Michael Keaton is the recruiter, the mentor. I know you didn't like that idea; you disagreed
Yeah,
with it as
I
well.
didn't think
but it
that
looks
was
like it's
going to
gonna be
happen,
great.
but yeah.
Yeah, well, people just thought because it was Multiverse, it might just pop up in the Flash, and that was it. But it looks like he's going to be a recurring player in the main DCU. So I think he'll be there as like a recruiter, a mentor type. I think Wonder Woman will be the leader of the Justice League. Now that's going to change because Henry Cavill Superman will probably be brought back in. But Aquaman's guaranteed, Flash is guaranteed. I think Shazam is going to be brought in. I've been saying that. I think Batgirl, Supergirl. I think you'll have kind of outside members like Black Canary will be there, Blue Beetle, characters like that. But Henry Cavill's Superman was the big question mark. He was the maybe. For me, now he's a certainty. I think he will be in the new Justice League movie that they end up making. I think he'll be in the Flash movie. And I think, because why would they use him if they had no intention in that scene, you know?
Because, look,
Didn't
we
have
have
to.
a new Black Superman project that's going to be made. We have that, rumors about him getting recast, and we have the rumors about him getting replaced by Supergirl. He will no longer be in the Justice League and all that. Amidst all that, they could have just not have Superman, but they chose to bring him with the Justice League Superman suit. So that says a lot.
Yeah, I think he's coming back. You know, I think he is, because the other three were guaranteed contract-wise. Henry Cavill's not. Why include him? You know, so that's kind of the black sheep for me right there in that scene. That shows that Henry Cavill. Many people just overlooked it and said, "Not my Justice League. That's Joss Whedon. That's James Gunn disrespecting the characters." I'm like, I don't know. I don't think Batman talking about jacking off Batman degraded his character. I know it's like people. The comedy is subjective, and there's different there's like comedy isn't just one plane, one universal plane. There's stand-up comedians, there's comedy movies, there's dark humor, there's light humor, there's the dick jokes, there's the the subtle humor. Like there's all different types of comedy and stuff like that. Zack Snyder's Justice League for me is the funniest DC movie that I've watched. I think it's very funny, but it's done in like a serious kind of way, and that's not like JL17 is just a terrible trying to be a comedy movie. It's disrespectful. It's terrible.
Yeah.
The jokes don't land at all. Shazam was funny here and there and stuff like that. The Suicide Squad, David Ayer's one, the chemistry humor and stuff with the characters and stuff like that. But Zack Snyder's Justice League for me is one of the funniest movies. But the thing is, like, there is people out there that do like the dick jokes and stuff like that. They find that very funny. That's James Gunn's style of humor. Zack Snyder's style of humor is different, but it's still comedy, the two of them. And some people like both. I like both that I've seen. Some people just like Zack Snyder's. Some people just like James Gunn. But it's just comedy. And you talk about that Joker scene. That is funny about Batman. That's from his perspective. He's making a joke about Batman jacking him off. And from his perspective, he's making a joke about Mira being
Fish.
Smelly fish or something like that. From his perspective, that's funny. And some people found that jokes funny. People, I posted a meme of the Lex Luthor P-jar thing. People went absolutely crazy about it. But like from Lex Luthor's perspective, that's funny. Him framing Superman and the Capitol building and him peeing in the jar and leaving it beside Senator Finch. That's humorous to him. Not humorous to us as the audience, but to him it is. Perception of comedy and how characters interact and why a certain character sits up. From Peacemaker's perspective, the dye-beard joke is funny.
The literal shot of the Justice League in the episode is from Peacemaker's POV. The way the shot even is set up, Peacemaker is in the frame. It's literally telling you it's his POV.
But like Peacemaker, his perspective, saying dye beard is the funniest thing that he can think of in that moment. But John Economist, as we found out, it's a very insecure thing for him. It's not a joke for him.
Exactly.
You know how the comedy, people act like comedy is one universal plane, and if it's James Gunn, it's not funny. Many people do find James Gunn's humor funny. It's because that's why he's successful.
Yep.
That's why people do like his humor. So I just think it's just
In every scene they'll be like, is this supposed to be funny? Like, no, it's not supposed to be funny. John Cena Peacemaker making these immature jokes is not supposed to be funny, and his own teammates call him out on that.
Call him out. And we find out his comedy is a camouflage for the pain he went through, killing his brother, his dad abusing him, making him a killer. This is all a camouflage to hide his real insecurities, his real pain.
Yeah.
But Harcourt calls him out. Adebayo calls him out. Economist calls him out. Myrne calls him out. So I don't know. People I just think it's at a rate now where people won't like anything. Yes, I would love to. I want to see Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and his universe and stuff like that. Of course I do, but I'm not going to stand every day just hating absolutely everything I see. So
tell me,
Mar,
tell me what happens if every single time the Justice League shows up in any new DCEU property, and fans just without Zack, and if fans just reject them, like, how dare you bring them in this show or in this movie, blah blah blah, just like they did for this show. How well do you think will that bode for Zack Snyder's Justice League 2?
It shows a discourse for the characters. It shows like a rejection of the characters.
Yep.
It's basically saying like, why are you using Zack Snyder's Justice League characters? Why aren't you using Zack Snyder's Justice League characters? What? What do you want?
It's crazy.
Why is it silhouettes? Why isn't it the real Justice League? Well, we have two of the actors. Well, why are you using two of the actors and not silhouettes? Yeah, okay. I just think they're going to hit everything. Not everything needs to be done by Zack Snyder, but I want to see Zack Snyder's continuation, of course. But other actors and directors other directors can use these characters as well.
That's what the DCU is. That's what having a shared universe is.
It does not affect Zack Snyder's Justice League 2.
It does not. Yeah.
At all.
Anything happened here is not canon to the Snyderverse. It's not something that in Zack's world happened. It's happening in the DCU.
If Zack really liked something from Aquaman 2 or from Wonder Woman 3, like really liked it, he could use that as canon for a part of his story if he wanted to.
Like he could bring in Sasha Kai as Supergirl at some point in the Nightmare if he wants.
Really like like an Elseworld. You can do that, of course. You wanted to bring in Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Like, come on. As a different version of Hal.
Yeah.
But like the current DCU can do the exact same thing, and in the way they kind of are, because if James Gunn was making, I don't know, like a Justice League Dark movie or something like that, or I don't know, some other project, but he liked something from Zack Snyder's Justice League 2, or he liked something from Batman v Superman, he could be like, oh, I'd love to use that, and I'd love to bring that over into what I'm doing here. They can. You can just pick and choose what's kind of canon to the story you're telling right now because of the multiverse. It's not that complicated in a way, and I think it's pretty. If you wanted to use Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor from Batman v Superman, like that'd be cool. You can do that. It's not like it's not disrespecting the character because it's not Zack Snyder.
It's literally actually starting from the love of his characters. That's why these directors keep bringing in his character cameos in these movies. And
like there is people that genuinely don't like the direction the DC universe is going, and they think Zack's universe was better and stuff like that. Yeah, it probably would have been better, and I agree with you there. But like, if you don't like it, maybe don't watch it. Maybe just like something you do want to watch. I don't know. Maybe you don't spend all day being angry.
Yeah.
Go watch something that makes you happy and that you do like, because it's going to be exhausting and unhealthy if you're going to be angry every single day watching something that you don't like or you don't agree with.
They always say that they quit the DCU. They quit talking about the DCU. I'm never going to give my money or watch anything new about the DCU. And every single time a new stuff drops, they start complaining about it. They start whining about it. What's the purpose? What's the goal? I don't see it.
I think if the next few DCU movies hit hard and make a lot of money, that group that hates everything, they get more rounded into a group. Like they get more kind of put into a box. Oh, that's just the group that hates everything. they love Zack Snyder and nothing
Yeah.
else, and they hate everything else.
Yeah.
And
Jim
as the
Lee
other
defended
films come
us
out, and
on that same very
yeah,
thing. He said, "Look, if you are a fan of just one thing and not the others, that's not what we're doing here. DC is everything. DC is the multiverse and all that." He said that. He defended us. And now you're turning into the things that you hated when we began this journey. Think about
yeah.
that.
But like, if Batman makes $1 billion or hits really hard, if Black Adam hits really hard, Flash, Aquaman, Shazam, if they all do pretty well, the encouragement and the fan base that likes the current DCU gets bigger, and those guys get smaller, and are just you talked about as toxic.
Yep.
But my battery's about to die.
Yeah, we're at the end of the show anyway. So yeah,
Okay,
we'll wrap
cool.
this up. And
Thanks everyone in the chat
Yeah.
for the comments. Absolutely brilliant tonight. Fantastic. And make sure you go follow the social media pages, Real Talk Live on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter and Facebook as well.
yeah. And you can follow me at KryptonCage on all social media. We'll be talking next week, since we don't have Peacemaker, unfortunately. We're talking about other shows. I think you also started Severance, right?
Yeah, loads of shows to talk
Yeah,
about.
we'll be talking about that.
First episode.
And we'll be talking about the after party. That's the finale of that is coming this week, so that's also a pretty good show, and we'll be talking about that. So yeah, see you all next weekend, same time, either Saturday or Sunday. We'll let you know. But until then, take care and